right. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another Friday night here on March the 12th, 2021, the third month already of the new year. Kimmy, good to see you. Welcome. How are you, Kimmy?
Always great being in presence of greatness, Mr. K himself of Tampa Bay.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Glad you recognize, because it's hard to get Griff to say that.
Oh my gosh. What did I do? What did I just do? Always a pleasure, K.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to see you, and it's good to see everybody here at Soul Citizens Friday Night Live. Welcome, everybody. Call your wives, call your daughters, call your sons, call your kids. Tell them to come on over. And yeah, get the kids on too. Tell them to come over. Some people, it's spring break here in Florida, and I'm in Hillsborough County. It's spring break now between Hillsborough and Orange County. So good weather. Come on down. Well, don't really come on down, but you can come on to Soul Citizens Friday Night Live and get to enjoy us. So we want to welcome you guys. Kimmy, some big news over the weekend. We celebrated 1 year, right? With Soul Citizens on Sunday.
Soul Citizens, yes.
So just to go backward, so we celebrated 1 year, and I mean, a big accolades for us, Kimmy.
I thought you were going to say 1 year of COVID, but that's good news, though.
Yeah, I'll leave that.
I like the good news. Glass half full. I'll take the good news. Yes, we actually did 52 weeks, man. Where did the time go? It went pretty quick, Kay.
Yeah, it did. It did. Hey, that Captain Adam, good to see you.
Hey,
Kate759 says good to see you. Hammer VK, good to see you. Tell your friends to come on in. Star Helix, good to see you as well.
Not bad.
And it looks like what is it? Is it Alanon 01? Good to see you as well. Welcome, guys. Welcome in. So Griff has the night off, and well, at least from the screen.
He's always lurking, man.
He's always lurking around.
I never get a night off.
Jim Brown is looking behind his shoulders. Like, what the hell?
So it looks like we got a full slate, because we're in March now, and it looks like Stella Fortuna is on the lunar rise.
Yes, celebrating the terraforming of Mars. Yes, taking brave opportunities, whether it's business ventures or exclaiming your love for someone.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to know some more about that. Maybe you guys can go ahead and help us out in the chat. Remember, it's Friday Night Live. And
Mad Styles. Oh my God.
Mad Styles is up.
7 Mad Styles.
J2 Smiling Vikings is coming in. Lucky is coming in. Lucky.
Wow, we're here.
X111 guy. Appreciate
Holy smokes, guys.
Here. Mad Styles, thank you for the subscribe tier 1. We appreciate you coming in.
Wow.
A lot of good things happening already.
Families in the house.
Already. Keep the love coming in, guys. A lot to talk about here. I guess this is in recognition to St. Patty's Day, I guess?
Yes, the gold and green. Well, mainly the green and the colors, man. That's my brand color. So what's not to love about green?
Yeah, well, some people see green as a little bit of a interesting color. But yeah, I mean, especially the way how CIG has created the green. I think their green scheme is a little bit it's a little bit unique. I think I can't remember when was the first big ship, but I think the first ship of this color, if I remember correctly, somebody correct me, was what the if it wasn't the Phoenix, it was
Archimedes, right? The Phoenix.
Yeah,
you're right. The Phoenix, right? Archimedes. Yeah, I have one of Archimedes. Color at least.
And it looked good. Kimmy, what do you think?
I love it. It just, again, you're seeing more variety, better use of making yourself distinct in the game. So, people are taking well to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like we're going to our next one. Kimmy, take it over, buddy.
All right. Our next one is...
Looks like we're in the ships, it looks like, right?
Yes. Is it the vehicle experience?
Nope. Look at this. The sheet should be ship names.
Look at ships names. that we got going on. Looks like
yes. Sorry, guys. Naming conventions. That was a big deal. Naming conventions, and what happens is you with that you had the opportunity in waves to actually name your particular ship, and so there was a little hiccup with it because it dealt with accounts and the first wave backers. It was going out where it was a certain volume of people that could do it, and then the front end wasn't working, so you had to do some things with concierge. I actually had an issue, but called in or sent them an email to say, hey, I think one of my ships are actually qualified to be named. And like 5 or 10 minutes later, I get a reply and they tell me, oh, we're going to look it over and say, oh, yeah, it's confirmed. Give it a couple of minutes. And it was done. Issue was done. But on the other flip side of that, as people were getting that information regarding the front end not accepting their account or some issues with the accounts, then it was just the floodgates of people just saying, hey, check my account. So some people on the other spectrum, on the other side of that, said it took them a while or a day or two for SIG to get back to them. It was just a bottleneck of so many people calling in to get their ships updated. But yes, it went very well. Some great names, some questionable names, some funny names. So Kay, what did you name your ship? Did you get an opportunity to name your ship? I'm curious, man.
I did name my ship.
Don't tell me Champa, man.
No, I didn't go that route. I didn't decide to corner it up right there. I mean, I chose a little bit of a better name. I mean, Kusanagi says Kenny has presidential status at CIG.
Admiral 07.
He does. You know what? And I'll ride on that coattail any day up into that building. That's right. I'm on it, Kenny.
I'm not looking to get gray anytime soon.
Hey, Fist, were you looking to join the room? Sorry about that, buddy. Were you looking to come in the room?
Yeah.
Okay, because you were in a different thing, so I'll bring you over, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you went to the general link versus the studio link. No problem.
That's my character. Farfignugan.
Where did I hear that from?
Word. It's German for driving pleasure.
Oh, the German, the Beetle. That was the Volkswagen.
Yes, it was with the
Volkswagen. The Farfignugan. Yes, I've heard that before. Interesting. What ship?
Nobody's gonna have it. It's all mine. So the story with me is every time I, instead of me, because I'm religious. So every time I would say, in order to prevent from saying some bad language, I would choose another word. And one of the words that I would choose was Farfignugan.
Farfignugan.
Instead of saying the F word, I was saying Farfignugan.
Oh.
So that's the name of my character. So if you ever get blown up by a ship that just comes by that says Farfignugan, none of you will be able to pronounce it because you're going to be like, it was that ship called something. None of you be able to pronounce it. That's the whole reason why I chose that word. Hey, Ops Chief.
Interesting. I try to be dramatic with mine. I was lucky enough I was able to name the Mercury Star Runner first, and then it was the Carrack. So with the Star Runner, I called it Dark Star. 2 R's on the end, Dark Star. And the Carrack, I called it the Void Piercer. So kind of comic bookish, but a little dramatic there. But I love the fact we were able to do that.
J2 Smiling Viking, you did not name your ship Ted.
Say what?
Just come on. Please don't tell me you named your reclaimer Ted. Is that it? I mean, that's my MSR, my Mercury Star Runner. I named it Tayaye. So nobody has it. I literally did name it Tayaye. It is mine. It's set in stone. Sorry, that is Colossals. You guys are over with. It's Banu time.
Griff is catching heartburn in the background hearing that word.
Now, I actually gave him a compliment and said, I can't believe he actually got that. I was surprised nobody beat him to it, to be honest with you.
I was
we
very surprised.
We were having fun with that word on one of the shows. At one time we got into it, and And for some reason, I got blasted for saying, "Hey, you're into slaving," and those days coming back, and then I had to switch it up to human trafficking, and we started going after each other. And I said, "Hey, Griff, tie." He was like, "What the hell, man?"
Raymond, hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Dark Knight,
Yes,
always
welcome.
good to see you.
And you have a guest in the room with you.
Yes,
we
fist to
have a guest
face.
in the
What's up?
Is it Fist?
Yes,
Fist, how you doing, buddy?
I recognize that laughter anywhere.
Good evening, Fist.
Yeah.
We are curious, Fist. What did you name your ship?
I haven't named my ships yet.
Oh,
No, I haven't. Been kind of busy this week.
don't worry about it, Fist. I can help you out. I can give you a list of names.
No, that's okay.
Something
That's all
musical.
right.
It's-
No,
I'm-
it's all
I'm
right. We
guessing
can
that
stop
it's gonna
right
be
there.
something
I
musical.
appreciate your help, but we stop it right there. I appreciate it. We stop it right there. Thank you.
Go ahead and send it your way. I'm gonna send it via email.
No, that's okay. It's all right.
I'm suspecting
I
something
appreciate
musical.
your help, but no, thank you.
Gotcha, brother. I always here to help, sir. Yes, sir.
Look
Don't
at-
let Kelosal name your ships. Thanks, Dark Knight.
Oh, Admiral's coming with the original Star Trek series on his. Nice.
I do got to pick on you, Kimmy, for a minute. I never seen that clip of you talking about slavery in the game. I was like, whoa.
I think
wait
you
a minute.
mentioned that. I believe you were in the chat. Fifth.
Yeah, I
you
was
said,
like,
"What
wait
the
a
hell,
minute."
Kimmy? You're talking about slavery?"
I was taken back. I mean, me
Yeah,
and Pop
yeah.
looked at each other sideways, like, "What is that Kimmy? Seriously?"
Hey,
gotta have
piracy,
a
but I'm
talk.
not in it though. I mean, piracy. I'm not a part of it, but I suspect piracy, Princess Leia, and all that stuff. I've
Okay,
said it
yeah,
then.
I
I'm
get
saying it now. The Princess Leia version of it.
Right,
You know,
Nobody names their ship, not in this generation. I mean,
Jabba the Hutt, and yeah.
Oh man, we just poking fun, but
Yeah, it was hilarious, man.
Well, like I said, Fist to Face, when you get a chance to name your ship, buddy, you know, I know for a fact you always think of Kimmy when you name those ships. You can think of Fast Car too as well. He got a couple of good picks to name some ships after.
okay.
Nice.
I
Well,
guess that-
you know
I
what?
suspect his ships to be on the musical theme.
No, not really. Really, actually, me and my dad, we gotta play around. I was thinking of like, y'all seen the movie was it Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
Yes.
Okay, I
Oh,
was
the
gonna name
parody.
mine.
Yes.
I was gonna name mine Betty. Something
That
silly.
movie
I don't
was
know.
so
something
horrible. It was funny. It was good.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. Yeah. Something. My ship's names. I kind of make things like think of things that are silly like that. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's all about fun.
Yeah.
It's all about fun.
LM is in the house. She comes in and she says that she's named her Cuddy Red. Her Cuddy Red will be named the General.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, LM.
Nice.
Nice. I got a couple of names for you too that I can go ahead and pull out the hat. Don't worry, it's all there for you. And Colosal's bag old tricks that he can go ahead and give you in terms of those names. Love my soaps bros. Yes, absolutely.
She loves
Love it, LM. All right, so the next one. So as we continue on with the naming of ships, guys, remember, I believe you can name your ships every Monday, but I'm about to move on from that saga. I believe for the next, Kimmy, if you correct me on this one, for the next couple of weeks now, I think got 2 or 3 more weeks to name your ships.
That's a strong possibility, and until they're gonna lock things in, and then going forward, expect to be able to name all of your ships. So anytime now, especially with them getting the new patch ready to be released and getting that prepped up. So yeah, they should be closing things out pretty soon in that regard of changes and updates. They want to get it locked in for the next patch and see how it
Right.
works.
And I believe it's the Reclaimer, the Carrack, the
Yes, the
MSR, the Nomad, and I'm missing one more ship. 1 or 2 more ships.
No nomads. No nomads. 890,
nomads,
890
I
jump.
only went as far as the
890.
Reclaimer. I noticed
Yeah.
someone on Twitter talked about their reclaim, or they named it refund.
Right.
Red Lear mentioned that. So.
Red Lear did that. Okay.
Yeah.
And the 890s. I thought they did the Nomads glyph.
Nope. 600i. 600i.
Okay.
The 890,
Yeah,
600i.
Yeah, chat's helping you out.
The 890 Love Boat, and I got away with that one. So it's like, okay, that was accepted.
All right. Well, there you go. Go ahead and name your ships. The next show is coming up is Stella Fortuna video that we're going to watch because we're celebrating Stella Fortuna. So let's go ahead and roll the clip, sir.
Terraforming of Mars celebration.
Celebrate Stella Fortuna. Green is the color of everything.
Yes, my brain color. I love it.
So let's go ahead and get some reactions. I'm going to Fist of Faith first. Fist of Faith. First of all, I did purchase this this morning. Shame on me. I mean, we keep saying we're not going to go ahead and buy anything, and then the CIG just twist our toes, and before you know it, we got a couple of things. So Fist of Faith.
Feel bad.
Yeah, okay, thank you, because I don't. Did you did you get it? Fist of Faith, and if you didn't get it or did get it, what do you feel about this new Cyclone? What is it called? The MT, I believe.
The military version.
I mean, it's got a gun and two missiles. Go ahead, Fist of Faith.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually, you know, I like I said it earlier, don't feel bad because I bought two.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
I bought two of them. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, either way, I mean, LTI token right there, too. You know, you got to think about it.
Good one. Yeah,
so,
really good one.
Yeah. I mean, I bought two. Matter of fact, me and my dad, we discussed this earlier before these even came out. And I'm glad they did because we were thinking about, you know, when we're in our off time in the game and we want to go explore somewhere and we're in that, you know, they said that planet where you see that Yeti or the crab or wherever it is and something dangerous might pop out, you know, I need something to fire, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so that was the reason why, one of the reasons why I bought one.
Yeah. Kimmy, what about you, buddy?
I'm reserved. I did get the paint job for the Mercury Star Runner, but I am assessing. That may happen for me. I'm still on the fence in a good way in that regard with its capabilities because it's compatible with just about any of the torpedoes or missiles, I believe. Restocking, you can pretty much pick them up at a designated area and restock. Once you're out, you're out. But I love it. I think it sends a good variation to the existing, and then they're talking about they're going to do some upgrades to the legacy models as well. But yeah, this is a good little surprise here, and it was received well. And I think overall it's positive in what they're doing, and they're trying to bring things to the table for what we have expecting for the entire year. So I like it. I really like it.
Yeah. Thanks, Ellen, for the. Go ahead, Griff.
No, I was going to say, don't forget to mention what I shared with you this afternoon that you missed earlier this morning regarding this package.
What did I miss?
Isn't it Is it LTI with one of these?
It's not just the vehicle being sold.
Oh, it was a package. Yeah, there is a package with the and I couldn't believe
the Star Runner and the vehicle. I believe
I'm losing it. I'm getting old. Ladies and gentlemen, I am losing it. 4 decades. See what 4 decades to do to you? 4 decades to teach your students. I mean, look, I went out there this morning about, I can't remember, maybe around, 7 or 8 o'clock. And I went ahead and started looking through the Stella Fortuna notes and information.
I sent a link to you, Kay, this morning.
Yeah, you did. Right, Kimmy,
and
thank you.
2 minutes later, you said, hey, I got it. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. What got what?
It was quick. It was quick. I'm not ashamed of myself. It was quick. But I did not see the package. I saw a paint package for like $11 to $12, depending on your subscriber not, please.
Yep.
Right, and then I saw the Cyclone, and then I saw the MSR. But
Yes.
I did not see both the MSR, the Cyclone,
And the Cyclone is one package.
as one package. Did not see it. I'm devastated that I missed that. I'm ashamed of myself. But there is a package out there, guys. We wanted to point that out to you. So just scroll further down, take your time, and get a chance to read it. Can you, like, we know how reading is kryptonite to some people. Green color kryptonite.
Yeah, there's a savings of $50 if you decide to go with that package, and you get both of them LTI. The MSR, whether it'll come up LTI again, is questionable. So for those who are still thinking about that ship and be able to save $50 on the sale, you might want to think about it.
That's a good deal.
It's a great opportunity right now.
Yeah, that's a good deal. A saving of $50 if you don't have that ship, and you can get that ship right there. And I mean, the LTI is obviously going to be limited, so this is one of those times that you want to go ahead, and if you do have the resources to go ahead and get that, which some of you guys are going to have that resource, because the $1,400 is coming your way sometime soon, then you should be able to go ahead and consider about getting this package. I was shocked. I didn't know this until late this afternoon. Thanks a lot, Griff.
Yeah.
Mr. Face, you have one of these ships, right?
Actually, I have the Mercury Star Runner already.
Yes.
I have one already. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah, now I have the other one. I just don't have that green ugly paint. I'm sorry, Kimmy. I apologize. That green is just.
Have you seen that green color in game though, Mr. Face?
I'm hearing good things
green
though,
is just,
Fizz.
I don't really. I'll be honest with you, I really don't care.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Mr. Face. I don't like green. It reminds me of the old houses you see in the 1930s when every house in the corner was painted green. I get that, but this type of green that CIG put forth is quite nice looking in the verse.
It's
Quite
kind of
nice.
that
I mean,
baked in.
it does kind of have that. I don't know what color. What are you saying, Pop? Pimp. That pimp. Oh my god. Oh.
Put my ride.
with the large dices hanging over the rear view mirror.
Back, sunroof top.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Oh man. All right, let's move on. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it does. It's just. I mean, it's not too bad of an ugly green, but I mean, green is not mine. Like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, oh wow, that's a nice color. You know, I'm gonna put that on my shit. As soon as I saw green, I was like, nope, that's not going on my Mercury Star Runner.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
Yeah, I prefer the that green is cool, but the green that they came up with for that Cutlass is the green. That one I really like. The shinier one.
The Cutlass red, right?
That one I like a lot, but this is the color that they've been using each year for what was the first thing they put out? Was it the Phoenix? The green Phoenix was the first one.
Yeah, the Emerald.
And then after that was the was it the Viet?
Archimedes.
The Archimedes was last year. There was something else in between that. The Rover. The Rover was after the Phoenix. And then there was the Archimedes, like you said. Then it was the Archimedes, and then this year they came out with the MT. So very cool.
Okay. Right. Once again, guys, we're here at Soul Citizens Friday Night Live, and we're celebrating Stella Fortuna month, I believe, going on. And we're talking about new ships. The Cyclone has a new ship called the MT. The MSR now has a new skin color. So we talked about the skin color, and we talked a little. We don't need to talk that much about the MSR. Let's talk about the Cyclone MT. What do you think about that? Now, I went ahead and melted my Cyclones and got other things, but I mean, this Cyclone here, this MT, I believe, it has a gun, and I haven't looked at the specs yet. I'm gonna go look at it, and 2 sets of missiles. Right, it has 2 missiles each, one on the left, one on the right. What do you guys think about that now with that type of hybrid Cyclone? And we'll go with Kimmy.
Well, it's going to be fun to see the PvPers screaming for something that well, they've been screaming for some PvP. So the very next patch, that will be a thing. That will happen. To see these vehicles going against or are looking to pick off PvPers who are looking for a fight. So that's going to be interesting on the Cloud Imperium game side because they can take the metrics in and see how well the ships perform with these anti-aircraft missiles from that the Cyclone MT, and it's a win all around because two sets of players are going to have that fun and that interaction of going against each other with two different vehicle types, and then on the back end, Cloud Imperium will be getting the data they need to improve these features. So I love it, man.
Yeah, Mad Style is starting already with the gift subs. Thank you, Mad Style. That's
five.
Awesome.
You gave out five subscriptions.
5 gifted subscriptions. Gave that
Holy
shit.
smokes, man.
And
Black
appreciate it, Mad
Intellect.
Style. I mean, just
07 DK75.
awesome. Well, CIG basically says, here's to the opportunity to commemorate the occasion with friends, frivolity, and frothy beverages. So,
Yes.
happy Stella Fortuna to all of you. And I hope you guys are able to enjoy your ship. Send some pictures our way if you got those ships going on. I believe it's going to be from March 12th to March 22nd, so about a week. Looks
Go
like
green.
about a week. Okay. All right. So,
And this is going to be a highlight for today. It looks like they brought in, if I'm reading this right, 485,000.
wow.
485,000 is the revenue for just
For today. For today.
I love it.
Yeah.
It just tells you the health of the company overall, and it tells you that the support of this community, they're all in with making this game successful and being a part of that process. It's fulfilling. It's fulfilling to see and to dare to dream and make this dream reality. I love it, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like they do have a Q&A out for that Cyclone MT. So if you
Yes,
go to the
they
website, guys, they do have that Q&A out. I'm encouraged. I didn't have the time to read it today because today, like
It's
I
the
said,
next patch.
yeah, well, it is the next patch.
Yes,
It's coming
it's
very,
going to be
very
released
soon.
in 3.13. Yeah.
Oh yeah, very, very soon. So it's coming. It's coming. Take your pot of gold out, folks. Go ahead and catch your leprechauns.
Yeah.
Because
I'm waiting for that Nova. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. It's regarding the Nova Fist, it's still on a tentative list, meaning that when you see it in the gray title bar, they're not fully committed yet. There's some things that they have to work out, but once you see it go blue, then they're 98% committed. And again, with that said, it's a 2% of something that could knock it off and it could be pushed back. But yeah,
Right.
I'm right there with you, Fist, in that regard, to see more vehicles, more variety, and then people and us, the backers, being able to set up that scenario. So yeah, I'm on board because I am watching that roadmap. So we won't get an update this Wednesday, but it'll be the following Wednesday. So if it changes, I will reach out to you, brother.
Yeah, no, because I wanted to go back to what you said earlier about, with the Cyclone and the PvP, because one of the reasons also too is I wanted to do some gameplay in that way too with the Cyclone, and the Nova tank kind of reminds me of Battlefield 3, and everything.
Yes, you remember that? That's a classic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just have some good fun,
Yeah.
until Death of the Spaceman comes in, because then you just have to start thinking about all of that stuff. Like, no, can't do that.
Yeah. But see, there'll be a place for that once they get the back-end services in, and then we'll see Theater of War. You're going to get as much gameplay as the Persistent Universe because people want to get in and test without repercussions. So stay tuned.
Okay, you have a guest. You have a guest in the room.
Well, it seems like we got another guest in the room. It looks like our good
we are
dear
live
friend,
tonight.
the Admiral himself, Kusanagi. Admiral Kusanagi, how are you? Good evening.
Hey, Admiral.
Oh, good evening to you, everyone. Happy Fortuna to you. How are you doing?
Good. That was
Bring
good.
a little bit of the top of the morning to you.
Oh, the top of the morning to you, top of the evening, wherever you are.
I just need some chowder.
Admiral,
That's
before we,
good.
I know we're about to move on, Admiral, but I quickly, do you have this? And
Yes.
if you don't, are you getting it? What's up with your take on the MT?
Oh, I already bought it. That thing was it's I like the paint job. It's yeah, I just like the paint job overall. The missiles on it, I think, are really needed in the game, and it's a great improvement over the other one. I question if maybe they're too big for it. Maybe they should have been 2 size 2s or even rocket pods. I thought would have been really cool. But you can dumbfire these missiles on it, which is kind of cool. With the new
Yeah,
with the new
but you
missiles.
can go with any size 2 missiles though, Admiral. And don't expect the missiles to be spot on for this patch. They said in the Q&A that they will improve it by 3.14. So don't get bummed out if you try it and it's like, oh, what's going on?
Question.
Yeah,
how
it's
big are
just
the missiles?
difficult. Size 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I just it's how to pull a Saving Private Ryan on that thing. If the power goes out from an EMP and I want to throw a missile at somebody, I can do it easier if I have a rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick up a rocket and throw it at you.
But again, that's on an individual basis, right? But knowing Cloud Imperium and the way that they're going in the context of where the game is headed, imagine all of us would have that vehicle, Admiral, and we're going after the PvPers in the air, and it's all of us in chat firing these missiles. Yeah,
I
that's
do.
a different dynamic.
There's one thing I wish it did have is I wish I had a variant with an enclosed canopy, because you take the vehicle. I mean, the person in the video was like no helmet on. It must have been like Seattle or something like that, and they're driving around.
Oh, you can always get an origin.
I have an origin.
Yeah, that's
it didn't come out green.
And it didn't come out of my mouth either. It didn't. And it didn't come out of my mouth either. You noticed that I didn't say it.
Wait a minute. Griff need to be that was a Griff.
I'm gonna help Griff out and be like, hey, how come the G12 doesn't come out with a nice emerald green? Huh?
Next year, my friend. Next year.
Because that would look pretty nice, I must say.
Oh my god.
Jimmy, take us to the next one, buddy.
Oh my god. All right, guys. Okay, let me look at the next docket here. I'm all over the place. Sorry.
I want that. I want the suits though. The green suits.
That's my brand, man. That's my brand.
I want the commercials. They have the green suits.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm all aboard on that. So we're gonna queue up Inside Star Citizen, the driving force, the latest on that video. It came out Thursday, and it was simply amazing, chock full of bits and pieces, and it was the most amazing 15 minutes of this year for them to give a presentation on what's coming down the line, and it's all about those details with them, and you'll see what I'm talking about once we get that queued up.
So ever since I was like a kid, really, I was interested in cars, and that interest in cars went to building them. And then I ended up kind of racing competitive esports for a while, and that kind of got me into the game industry, which allowed me to combine pretty much all my passions that I have about vehicles and build them in video games. That's basically a dream come true for me.
Oh, don't you damage the 890.
I've been a fan of both planes and spaceships and cars equally for years.
Colossal.
It's definitely something that I'm
Colossal.
invested in, and I really want to make it good and everything. My background is physics, and so spaceship physics or ground vehicle physics, it's all physics to me. It's excellent, and it's a lot of fun.
Passion.
Making the ground vehicles better. They give us this ability to have a more varied experience in gameplay. Like, they're never obviously going to match the maneuverability and abilities of the spaceship, but they serve a different purpose.
With a spaceship, you can fly around, you can get an overview of the planet, but if you go down on the ground, you get a much greater sense of the detail and the scale of the universe.
At the moment, I've been supporting the work that Bjarni's been doing on ground vehicles, which is really, really exciting. The physics model and tire model that he's been working on is one of the most interesting things I've seen in a while.
So right now we're working on a more physically based tire model. It's actually built on empirical data, so like real world data from tires. So the tire model handles how the wheel contacts to the ground, and so we simulate that actually with this curve that is calculated from the slip of the wheel. Now the slip of the wheel is actually how fast the wheel is turning, how fast the engine turns the wheel relative to the ground that's moving beneath it. The tire model that we're using right now works fine, but it's a little bit too arcadey, and we want to explore moving into a more physical based one.
So each of the ground vehicles all are like wildly different ground vehicles, right? Having more flexibility over how you can tune the vehicles and a more physically accurate way to tune the vehicles will result in a more believable experience that is easier for us to achieve. And as a result, it's kind of pushed us to improve the system. So the result for the player is that you will see more vehicles that are behaving in the way that you expect. They sort of interact with the terrain much more correctly. You can slide them and also have periods of grip and so on. That is what you expect. And it's easier for us to achieve that, so you will get that more often. So each of the ground vehicles, you know, all the ground vehicles we've made so far have very different roles.
I work on the Rock improved ground vehicles because it was the first kind of ground vehicle to have a specific kind of purpose and place where it needed to be, because it had to be placed in difficult places to mine. So we definitely kind of looked back over the technology we had, and we definitely made some improvements there. It definitely feels better across the surface. And also it's the first ground vehicle that we properly tuned the camera for that we had developed previously for the spaceships. So we've got a camera that communicates when the vehicle is sliding. When you're flying around the corners in that vehicle, you can really feel the grip that it has. We're also working on the tank at the moment. This has been a big driving force behind a lot of the improvements we're making. So we've got access now to a lot more parameters, and it's the first vehicle to use the track physics which we have. So it's not steering by wheels turning, it's steering by a difference in speed between the different treads. Tech that's come with the tank is just some more fine-tuning options now that we didn't have before, and that drastically improves the feel and also the ability of the ground vehicles to do things as well. We're also working on the new Cyclone MT, which is, you know, kind of made us look at the kind of missile experience that we have with the ground vehicles and how it drastically changes the needs of the missiles and how they aim. It's also basically highlighted the fact that we also need to massively change how we communicate the ground vehicle experience, you know, overall with the UI, you know, because we don't have UI for the ground vehicles right now, you know, to the same standard as the ships. It's probably fair to say that it's probably one of my favorite vehicles, the Cyclone. So adding kind of missiles to that just adds an element of kind of fun and destruction for me. So as far as ground vehicles moving forward, where we go is we start with a core tire model improvement, which will drastically improve the kind of overall physics that drives the ground vehicle. Then basically on top of that, we've already done some work on the camera system, but we need to create more of a bespoke experience with the camera. So, you know, we're looking at improvements to the core camera system, and that all come just from a more realistic physics base. We're definitely not going to go full simulation here. It requires you to have a full steering wheel setup, but we want the same feelings and emotions to be expressed with the ground vehicles so that it feels right. And then, a big part of the ground vehicle experience that we would definitely want to improve is the lack of the hood, to be frank with you. And also just bring the ground vehicles up to the same standards in terms of all the systems. Then in the future, add the missile operator mode UI as well, so you'll have all the same systems that the ships do. And then someday we'll have coordinates to the compass on the hood as well, so you don't get lost. Because I get lost quite a lot on the planets. But that's just because I end up landing somewhere random and, you know, just go for a drive and I just watch the sunset go down.
Star Citizen is more than just a space game. It's a means to explore the cosmos and make your way through the universe, charting a path that's uniquely your own. And wherever that path happens to take you, you're likely to need a ground vehicle at some point along the way.
All right. Did we stop for a reason? But
Yeah, we usually talk about the first half, and then we talk about the second half.
Well, he got me on.
Let's talk about it, man. Let's bring it up.
But he got
I'm
me
gonna
on
say
that last
this.
part, Kenny.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna channel. I'm gonna channel some of the backers who are looking at this, and there's a reason why I'm saying this, but I'm gonna channel them. Why is the hell the vehicle team working on ground vehicles when they haven't even finished ships yet?
Why in the hell are they working on ground? Sister Face, you got an answer to that?
I believe that don't they have teams that work on different things? If I understand them as a company, right?
You have several vehicle
Over 50,
teams
yeah.
or tech teams: vehicle tech, vehicle experience, vehicle content.
So that would be my answer to that question. That you would have your ship team, and then you would have your ground vehicles team. Sure. Yeah, Pops would like to interject in here. Can you?
Yep. I'm going to come back around to it because what you say, it has some potency to it. But let's get over to Admiral. Is Pops in there hanging out too?
Yeah, he's in here. He's in here. Go ahead.
I think it has to do, possibly has to do with caves, with vehicles going into caves. You need small vehicles with gameplay in the cave. Ambush kind of a thing going on in the cave, driving vehicles. So I think that's probably the reason why they work.
That's an interesting point, Pop. That's very interesting, and it's clear. That's a good one. But at first, I was like, "Huh?" But no, it's you are focused on what's coming up, and they're attaching that feature to the imminent return to cave. So that's very sharp when your side to bring that up. I didn't think of that, but yeah, that's really key. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had no choice, Kimmy. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, when they created their first Tumbrel Cyclones, and then, I mean, you got the new Star Marine game come out. What's that new game coming out where they supposed to go ahead and bring in ground vehicles in this one and mix it up? Theaters of War, that's coming out.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And I think they had no choice. You got the Hercules that are coming out to be able to carry those types of weapons. I mean, those types of vehicles as well. So they might. I mean, this is one of those ones to where they created something. They created a monster, and they had no choice but to stay with it. So, I mean, it's exciting to see that. And we all know that they said this is a space game, and we're looking for spaceships. We've seen that multiple times. But we also know that now at least land vehicles are seen as a supplemental to that. So, and then the other thing to bring in that is you do have base buildings and habitats. So, I mean, what other better way to go ahead and traverse than to use a ground vehicle that could probably get to more places than a spaceship would. So yeah, I think it was one of those, you had no choice but to go ahead and roll with it and continue on with it. I think in this one is a good endeavor to look forward to.
If you're localized or you're going to be localized at some point. Yeah, that's a great point, Kay. What about Admiral? You have anything to interject? Any insights you want to add?
I think he kind of hit the nail on the head where he was saying that, you need it for places that you can't get to with the ship. And whether if it's just, whether it's a cave, which you might need those missiles for giant cave spiders or something like that.
Right.
Or maybe there's an area that there's a location under a tree cover that you can't access with a ship. And you need something like something heavy, more heavy armed than a dragonfly.
Accessibility.
Yeah. So, but I'm just happy. I think people overall are gonna enjoy being able to drive around a little bit better. You're looking at parts of the game where you just want something to be feel a little bit more complete. I have the Ballista, and I was actually in it. I think I was on Levski before they took it out, and it sounded like I was grinding gears, and I was like, why won't this thing move? So if this is their like a next iteration for this thing to like, that thing was flying across the, the tundra or wherever it was there.
Not
the
realistic.
list that they showed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I would love to be able to drive my truck like that. So I'm just looking forward to it. It shouldn't feel like I'm driving a 1947 Chevy, uphill in the snow.
Will the Origin be able to do that? Just curious.
I get a whole bunch of dirt on it.
The G12s, will they be able to do that? I'm just curious.
It might not move with all that dirt.
Yeah, because I'm just
Oh, no,
I'm kind of
hey, Griff, are you out there somewhere?
The way those tires are, they might get caked on with mud and stuff like that,
Coffee Gaming, thank you for the sub, 07.
I get a flat tire or something.
Oh, God.
The guy inside the truck isn't going to go up there and fix a flat tire. You got somebody to come by and fix it for
Are we
him.
talking human trafficking again?
Uh-oh.
I don't know what's in the back of your G12 there, Kevin.
Butlers or what?
Anybody back there?
What's going on? Oh my God!
The matrices running out of the back. I mean, the other thing, if I had anything to fuss about, Kimmy and Fist to Face and Admiral, if I had anything to fuss about, it would be okay. Fine, thanks for the four-wheel vehicles. But what about 10 minutes going by? Okay, what about my damn racers? What about those little bikes?
Mm-hmm.
Those
they got a lot to cover.
They gave us. Okay, we got this nice Stella Fortuna, lovely green color, frivolity stuff. So let me be, let me have my bikes. Give me those bikes.
Well, you know how like crazy it is on like a four-wheel vehicle, and if they don't have that stability right, the way it hits the ground right, and then you just go to two wheels, you're gonna be
you're all over there.
You're gonna be all over the place and dead. So I think this is gonna go. I think you're gonna see the bikes come out really quick after this, and yeah, I mean, I just. And like all the Nox and the Dragonfly, the way they used to fly, I mean, they used to like haul butt. Now they're just like, semi okay.
But they feel better now than they did when they first came out. I can tell you that much.
Oh, but the Nox, you could fly the thing into space.
Yeah,
like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, to bring it full circle to what you all are talking about, what you alluded to, features and assets that's imminent on the deliverables that's due to come out in the next couple of patches or so. You all make great points on them getting things acclimated to what's coming down the pipeline. Also using different assets to be able to interact with these new features that's going to be coming on board. So to wrap that in a nice bow, it's about, and why I said, why the hell are they working on vehicles? It ties it all into what you all alluded to. It's basically, process-wise, they want to make sure that everything is tied together or tethered together, where if you work on one thing so long, you go back to the other thing, and then by that time, you feel as though that data that you worked on is so out of sync. So if you bring it in holistically or all together, or you balance it with the process, it does a couple of things. It keeps their minds fresh by going to another potential problem to solve, which could have benefits to the other legacy data, that they could have breakthroughs on the other processes that could lend over to the others. So keeping things fresh when you're talking about programming, you don't want things overly repetitive, just doing one task. You want to keep things fresh. So it speaks to the health of the company as well, allowing them to be agile in their processes, and also find out if they can figure some things out that will benefit some other things that they're working on. And so, like, to add to the fact that they have these other features coming in game, and you have these new teams, when you're talking about, you guys brought up a good point about the levitating vehicles. The new Montreal tech team, planetary tech team, could probably lend their skill sets to that by, fixing the terrains that will allow it to work out or play a little better. So, all these things, you got to look at it holistically as a big picture and not get so focused in the rabbit hole or work in a silo at times. So you need that cross pollination to keep things fresh. So, guys, that was great, man. That was great points you made and put out in that regard. Really good.
Yeah. Call 33 Gaming. Thanks for the subscribe tier 1 subscribe for 5 months. Thank you for following us. Thank you.
Master the house with 100 bits.
Appreciate that.
When
Once
you're
again,
not
guys,
maybe you'll spend
Soul
your time in your
Citizens
house,
Friday Night Live.
your outpost,
Go ahead and
or your
bring
local
your friends
hospital.
over. Tell them to come
Let's
in and
take a
talk.
look now at
We're
how
here
some of
with
those are progressing
Kimmy
more
and
in this week's
Kelosal,
Sprint
and
Report.
our guest
Starting
today
things off
who has
this
joined
week,
us is
let's
Fist to
begin with
Face
some smaller
and Adam
updates from the
Kusanagi. We definitely appreciate that. We just want to go ahead and remind you guys to come on in and spend some time with us. It's just a chill moment with us on a Friday. We just want to talk about everything. This week, our topic is Stellar Fortuna. We got some new things with CIG. They just put out a new Cyclone MT. We just put out a new color livery for the MSR. We got ship namings this week that we just had, and everybody's naming their ships on Mondays. My ship is the Farfik Nugan, so if you get hit, you won't be able to recognize what hit you or the spelling of it or even the pronunciation of it. Good luck to you.
All right.
Just good luck to you on that one.
Ready for part two?
It's a lot of things. We're going to go ahead and continue on with the second part of
Starting things
the
off
ISC
this week,
driving force.
let's begin with some smaller updates from the EU-PU feature team, who just completed a sprint on bug fixes and visual updates to existing systems like the refinery kiosks, including this new welcome splash screen and a fix to the close window button that, wasn't working before. They also added an auto logout for those people who go to the library and like to leave their email open for anyone else to see. They also continue to work on the mining UI in line with the new subcomponents we talked about last week. The new additions allow for the display of precise benefits from each component, and also work for the previous consumables as well, so players can better and more knowledgeably tune their mining experience. They're also working on animating the scan bars as part of an overall push to expose more and more information to the player. Members of the modular content team recently completed a sprint on the non-commercial overlays for refinery decks coming to Alpha 3.13. What you're seeing here at the moment is a pre-lighting pass, which always does a lot to sell the proper mood and atmosphere of industrial areas like this. What they did here was take some of the more common traversal areas in several of the stations and began ripping out many of the adverts that were present, exposing more of the layered industrial guts that were previously hidden to the player from underneath. Also gone are some of the seating areas, plants, decor, and other amenities found in the larger stations, and a more utilitarian and functional space is left in its wake. Now, this isn't being applied to every station, but only a few select smaller ones with refinery decks in an effort to distinguish them a bit more from their flashier, more commercialized cousins. Now, it may be a bit flat looking at the moment, but once the lighting pass changes are in, it'll begin to bring out the personality a bit more in these smaller, more industrialized stations. If you remember our segment on the Interaction Zoo with Calyx from last year, you may be excited to hear that folks from the lighting team have begun to dig into his toy box of technical knickknacks and playthings to set up a habitation testbed of their own, starting with splitting all of the existing lighting into sectional circuits that can be controlled or affected by the player individually, such as a proximity sensor in the foyer to light and delight the entrance, a master control panel with different lighting states for the entire hab, localized controls for each distinct area like the kitchen or the bunk, and then, in case you still weren't able to set exactly the mood you're looking for, control of the individualized prop lights like lamps, giving players unprecedented control of how they light their own space. The next step in this prototyping is to explore integrating the destructible and replaceable colored lights from the Interaction Zoo, providing even more customization options for players going forward. Let's check in on the continuing white box progress of hospitals by stepping into New Babbage once more and seeing where they're at. Now this is the view when you leave the service ward and enter the lobby, and right off the bat we can see the ceiling has been altered since the last we saw it to reveal even more of the Aspire Grand up above. The pharmacy is still on the right, but now on the left we have new information and security stations as well. Now if we head back into the wards themselves, we can find nice communal areas like this gorgeous view of the New Babbage skyline. Off to the left and right leads to nurse and doctor and triage stations and many of the kinds of areas you'd expect to find in a fully functioning hospital. Now even though this is still in white box phase, you can imagine what it'll look like with New Babbage's trademark signage helping to distinguish between the various recovery rooms, surgical theaters, storage areas, blood labs, and more. And if you play like I do, you're going to spend a lot of time here, so it's important that it can handle the load. Did I make that same joke last time? You bet I did. It's a test to see if anybody's paying attention to what's being said here. Fidelity, immersion, bespoke. The hospital will really punch above its weight class. Now it wouldn't be a sprint report these days without a continuing look at the progress of our colonialism outposts. So here's a look at further white box progress. Most of the work this sprint was in determining all the things white box is normally used for, such as working out how all the various modules will connect and function with one another, figuring out how to set up the necessary viz areas while adapting for the sloped exterior walls, continuing to work out all the necessary runtime environment probes needed to allow lighting from the exterior to creep in through the windows to the interior, and potentially the other way around as well. Basically, it's work preserving the necessary modularity so that these outposts can work in multiple configurations, while adapting the blend tech to properly allow for spill into each room without noticeable lines everywhere. Folks also want to take another pass at this bathroom area, which is currently feeling a bit too much like a spaceship and not what we'd expect to see in a frontier outpost. They're also working with design to mark out interactable areas or future spaces for players to customize their space further with equipment or even decorative flair all their own. The social space in the center has gone through several iterations in the last couple weeks. As things sometimes do, it began to balloon in size before it was decided to bring it back in to a more intimate setting. Here we see one of the various connection collars that can link to a number of different modules, including this garage we first showed a couple weeks ago. The current thinking here is that there should be an airlock here so that the garage can be depressurized if necessary on certain planets or moons, as well as a hatch up above for the very same reason. Ultimately, it's just nice to follow along with the continued progress of these outposts that'll first be used in NPC settlements across Stanton and Pyro, and then eventually be rolled out to player use after that. Finally, before we let you go this week, there are sprints, and then there are tiny experiments devs do from time to time to see what's possible. And recently, someone on the VFX team tried revisiting our existing lightning effects ahead of some expected work on Pyro, and then combining that with our new and upcoming emissive particle lighting system to see if they could improve the look of one of Star Citizen's oldest assets, the dying star from Arena Commander. Now this is literally a VFX doodle done during a meeting, but it's got others excited about the possibilities not just in improving existing maps like Arena Commander, but applications elsewhere like in gas clouds in the persistent universe and at the center of the forthcoming Pyro system, which was the inspiration for Arena Commander's map to begin with. So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that there are many ways left to improve the ground vehicle experience in Star Citizen, and that some of those are already underway right now. That there's a new Cyclone variant on the way, and driving improvements for all vehicles alongside development of the Nova tank and the recently released Grey Cat Rock. That HABs may someday let you light up your life any way you want, and that those outposts just can't come soon enough, but they'll be worth the wait. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
I can see my screen just having wonderful dancing, lovely colors. It looks like a video game.
All right, and you have a new guest in the room.
Welcome, Go Mab.
Hey,
Welcome
Go
to the
Mab.
chat.
Happy Friday, everybody. How you doing?
Oh, he may not be there.
No, he said Happy Friday.
muted?
He's back in the back, but he said Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah. We.
Happy
So
Friday to you, Go Mab.
I got a couple questions. Couple of things to pay note on that I was writing down here. The mining UI, of course, you know I'm a miner, so definitely love the fact that you're starting to see what the consumables are able to give you the specs for. So I love that part. I love the fact that they gave us a new UI for the kiosks, and finally an X button that we get out of instead of just pulling out of the kiosk. So I love that part of what CIG is finally doing. They're listening to the miners finally. Well, they've been doing it for a while, but they've been implementing these things bit by bit. So that's definitely appreciated to see how they're changing the scanning tool for the mining thing. I also want to go ahead and just put some notes really quickly.
Why don't you stand by a second, Kelosal? Why don't you get the guests first? Because if you do yours, the guests will not have nothing left. So let the guests go first. Let the guests go first, because you already made a list. You're a school teacher. You're a school teacher. You see, he made a list, y'all, and checking it twice. He's checking it twice. So why don't you hit the guests first?
Mark 3, Santa Claus is coming in the next show.
Yeah, I got my notes.
I'm
rolling out the list.
We'll start with the last guest that just came in. Go back. What do you think, buddy? Thank you, Dark Knight.
Yes, man. That's what I think.
Say it again, Go back. You was kind of faded a little bit.
I did not hear you, Go Mab.
Is my mic real low?
Yes. In fact, you're not coming through.
You sound like you were down the hallway making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
You're not coming. Hang on, stand by. It sounds like you're on like your webcam versus a mic. You're very distant.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll come back to Go Mab in just a second while he gets that figured out. Kusanagi, what do you think, buddy, about the mining overlay and the kiosks?
You might want to wait for him, because after you started talking about a list, I started making a list of what you were talking about. I was like, oh God, here we go.
It works, doesn't it?
I should be better.
So,
there you go.
There he goes.
Good, Go Mab.
He can go first. He can go first.
Oh, Go Mab. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, I didn't have my Yeti. Right.
All right, man.
Yeah,
I'm good, man.
Thank you. I'm loving the work on the kiosk. You know, that's always been one of the laggards. You know, I know they've been working on a lot of other stuff, but you know, that's that polish of the interaction with the different systems in the game. I think is very important, and so I'm happy to see that. You know, and I'm excited, man. I don't even want to play right now. I'm just so ready for 3.13, man. And it's
amen.
I'm just staying away right now until I hear it drop, and then I'm soaking in all the information I can until it does, though.
Well, good news, Evocati is they're putting hands on it.
That's cool.
It's always something good when they got their hands on it. That means it's just around the corner.
Yes.
Face to face?
Yes. I'm excited as well. I mean, as you know, I'm a miner. Me and Pops. So I'm definitely looking forward to grabbing up those consumables, as well as the what do they call them again? The attachments,
mining component.
The components. Yes. The components to help out, you know, with those big large rocks, man. Oh man, them quantanium rocks, man. Yeah. So, and also to see what other things that are in caves, you know, maybe they might bring out another mineral. You never know.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Did they mention about what you say?
Future
charges, right. Charges, right. So like if you have that that rock that your mining heads can't get through,
too dense.
Yeah, and you can just put a charge on there, or however it works. It's like, man, yeah, that's cool.
Multi-layer gameplay. Yeah.
We're excited for it. You know,
that's awesome, man.
All right. Admiral, you said you had a list, sir. You can finish with it?
No comments. Okay, so like, I think like everybody here, you know, I'm also a miner. and I absolutely hate the consumables. Like click this thing here. There's no way to like add it to the ship. I think you have to be in port. If someone else knows a trick against that, let me know. But I love the new additional components because I can't imagine being multiple jumps away or wherever, and then I run out of like I do like the fifth consumable, and I'm like, I'm out of luck. So these components are hugely needed. And I mean, of course, I imagine people are going to be flying with other people. So if a rocket is, they're not going to be as great as consumables, but I'm hoping that, another ship can help out and stuff. But I think this is greatly needed. And, it's funny because we were talking about when you look at mining and you look at driving, they were saying that mining was done. They're like, we didn't really expect to have to add anything else new to it. So they're like, when we came up with these consumables. So I think they're trying to like get it to a point where it's not polished, but get it to a point where they have a pretty good idea of where it needs to be, and they can polish it down the road. And I think that leads for greater gameplay and people staying in the game and testing it out and having a great time. I'll make this quick. So lights and the interior lights, oh my God, that's amazing. Like to turn off a light or go to like your microwave and turn the light over it and all that stuff. Oh my God. And then the homesteads look fantastic. They're coming along quite well.
Photometrics around.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, seriously. I almost picked up my laptop and went in the bathroom real quick.
I mean, that's a great point you make, Admiral. Kimmy, what do you think? Because, especially about the mining part, because I hope they listen to, they've been listening to the miners. I hope they listen to this next thing that CIG maybe should do is to do the mining consumables the same way they do missiles, which is if you got 40 mining consumables, then you should be able to load them directly from your ship onto the slot if the slot empties, instead of going back to a port or dock and then buying a new set or having them put on your ship. That's something that I hope they look at.
Cash.
Yeah, but that was a good point to definitely make. I do love this new thing about the dying star that we see in Arena Commander, and now they're starting to make some good of it there. What do you think, Kimmy?
Real quick. Love what Admiral said about the light, the actual lamp. You can move around in the room and change the lighting. Hopefully, with the push-pull dynamic, we can move around furniture. The other thing was the homesteads was amazing. And I'm going to channel maybe a negative response from a backer. Why the hell do we need mining components? When you look at certain areas like a pyro that they're showing right there, if it's a hostile area, and in addition to that, it's volative, the radiation. So with that particular component, that mining component, which basically gave you a variation of mining, of being able to mine really fast, you want to get in, get out, and get the hell out of those areas like that. So having those variations in how you mining is key to allowing you to continue to do your work. So yeah, I can't say enough about the Habs, man. So yeah, really good stuff.
I can answer that question, Kimmy. There are some people who are just fantastic miners.
I can believe it.
Just fantastic miners. And they will pop a rock in a heartbeat.
But mining isn't over.
So yeah,
I've never had the thought that it was going to be completed because of the Orion is not in the game and working. So as long as that is still there, mining isn't done.
I will say, if you're really going to make mining your profession, definitely invest into something that is analog. For that, I forget, what is it, the relative that you showed me, Kimmy, that setting and options for the mining laser for the power, because that helps. That helps.
Yes. Awesome.
The slider.
Yes, the slider. Yes. Yeah. I mean, because doing it on the wheel mouse, it'll get you there, but you will find yourself like, oh man, why isn't this thing responding the way it should? But yeah.
You have one more guest before we jump into SCL.
Right. J2 Smiling Viking, welcome.
J2,
welcome.
07.
Before we go further, can I just take a
Get
step
in
back
there, man.
and address
Just
a
get in
couple
there.
of the issues that I wasn't in chat to address. First off, to go way back, the MT. All right, now we've got the Cyclone MT that does the same job as the TR and the AA. So why do I mean, I currently have all three. I had a TR and an AA. Now I bought an MT. What reason do I have not to melt my TR and my AA?
Good
I mean,
point.
the AA
Good
has
point.
an EMP, but how useful is an EMP in a ground vehicle? You know, I'm just. Anybody got any clue on that one? I don't.
Yeah, there's going to be a reason for it. If you remember when they put out the G12 series, the G12, one of them has an EMP in it as well. They haven't revealed it to us yet, but there's some method behind the madness for why they're putting EMPs in
I
vehicles.
sure hope so. I mean, I love the ground vehicles in Star Citizen. I just really wish there was more of a reason to use them, you know, and, you know, I hope and I believe that one day there will be.
Yep.
There just isn't, you know, a ton of use for them
at
this stage.
You know, J2, the good news is this year with the delivery of the Crusader C series of ships, C2, M2, now you're going to be bringing in the tanks and you're going to be bringing in those vehicles and you're going to start seeing people creating scenarios that they couldn't do before. The ballista, and the other issue is that whole thing of controlling missiles is a huge factor because that's been the frustration with the ballista. But the fact that now you can either dumbfire, as Kusanagi mentioned earlier, or be able to guide those missiles now, not just for aircraft, but even ground to ground, people can start creating scenarios on their own in the sandbox. So it's going to take some imagination, but this year, these next two patches are going to push us into people being able to actually put that stuff to use. Because you're right, otherwise it's been pretty empty.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with all that. I just feel like until we have homesteads or some other, you know, some other reason to defend an area on the ground or attack an area on the ground, there's just not a ton of use for these things.
And that's
as cool as they are.
And that's why I think we're seeing homestead stuff come up now, because I think you're right. I think it's all tied together. Because remember, it was just a couple months ago they showed. Remember, a couple months ago it was sketches. Now they're showing us full blown, not only gray box but white box, and they're showing us even further. So they're further along with homesteads than they were.
Those hard, man. They're on serious sprints as far as the homestead stuff goes.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, good point.
Black Intellect.
It would be nice. It would have been nice to have these new vehicles during the Daymar rally. Because a couple of those races were getting destroyed by reefers or pirates or whatever you want to call these people.
I think at some point all of that will realign itself because SIG is dedicated to racing, and it's probably amazed them that the backers of the community actually took it and said, "Hey, we can handle this." But it's going to be some sort of alignment that SIG is going to start getting really involved with that, especially with the backers, and a lot of feedback is going to come out from that. But Black Intellect says the streets are saying there's going to be a ground-based part to Xenothreat activities coming. So stay tuned, J2. Hold on to those vehicles.
That would be sweet. Are they actually bringing the Xenothreat stuff back? I thought they were moving on to.
No, they're not done. Tony Zurvek.
Well, Tony said that there were
the other one. What is it? The
Nine Tails. Nine Tails
lockdown. That was it.
Right.
They're not done.
And then Tony told us that there was more than 8 major events that they're going to be popping up. So even if they're done with Xeno, I think they got enough data for Xenothreat to go ahead and improve whatever they need to improve with that.
Yes.
And they already have several other events that are ready to go, or at least close to being ready to go, that they need to go ahead and throw out to us so they can go ahead and get those taken care of as well. So they have, from what Tony Zurvik said. I think Jared was kind of answering right there because you had a director basically saying, "Yeah, we got more of these ready to go, so don't worry about it. They're coming."
Yeah, you gotta love Tony Z because,
oh man,
you see Jared's face. I don't think Tony Z was supposed to be.
It was the easiest interview ever.
What can you say? You know, I'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth than sit there and just get all these Jared slangs like. It's coming in 6 months. It's coming. It's coming in the near future. That's Jared. But Tony Z was like,
Think of it this way.
Stuff going on, man.
Think of it this way. You know, Xenothreat was them attacking us. They
Yes.
still have their bases that we haven't had to engage, and that they probably has physical bases, which we need ground support
Absolutely.
vehicles and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's the Pyro system
But
coming up.
Xenothreat's based in Pyro. Until we have
Yeah,
Pyro,
oh, yes.
Right.
we don't
Yes.
get those
Right.
missions.
Base of operations.
So,
Ninetales is that Crusader space or Hurston space? Well,
I don't know.
either way, it's
I've seen them all over though.
Yeah, that's true.
I've encountered them both in Hurston and Crusader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all Stanton, so we have access to all that now, which is that's good. No waiting for another system before we get to attack them.
Yeah, I mean, this lighting stuff, especially with this planet right here. I mean, this planet is in Pyro, right? I believe. So,
Yeah, man, it's endless what they could do with that.
Right, because when you look at the other thing that they put out in Star Citizen Live, I believe, when they put that out today, they were talking about the lighting system, and they talked about how basically each entity basically is reacting towards another entity, and that's why it's so difficult with all the things that they're putting in, like especially with quantum. Quantum isn't just the quantum drive isn't just one quantum drive. It basically reacts to every other component that they have that makes it go.
The pipeline.
So, and they're going to talk about it. You're going to see it. We may get to it. You're going to see that part when they talk about these lightings and how difficult it is, and the intricacies that are webbed into those that technology. So it's going to be interesting once they finally get it in game, especially what you just saw that planet. I mean, look at Arena Commander now, and look at that planet that you just saw with all that lightning strike just come out. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Improvements.
Can I say something? I wanted to ask you guys a question. I saw in the video of ISC, is that how when they showed the bathroom scene? Is that how the way ladies are going to go to the bathroom in space now?
In space or at the habitat?
I'm just curious. Me and Dad saw that, we were like, wait, whoa, okay, this is something new.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that Jared kind of clarified it, because he said I don't think they were satisfied with the bathrooms and the habitats, and we didn't see any doors with the bathroom with the habitat, so I'm quite sure we'll see that, because you just don't see an open bathroom like that and the lady just standing up in front of the urinal.
The standing up part was really what got me. That I was like, wow, okay, this is different.
So, Father Nugan, just don't call your ship Wiener Schnitzels.
Yeah, well, I'm quite sure somebody's probably already taken it. You just gave somebody an idea. All right. So, with that,
I spend a decent amount of time in New York City clubs, and I saw plenty of what appeared to be ladies standing at urinals.
Oh no!
Studio 64. Here we go.
Speaking of standing up, we're gonna go ahead and stand up and move on to Star Citizen Live.
Let's VFX this thing, man.
They were talking about VFX.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll that clip.
Hello, everybody.
Star Citizen Live.
Star Citizen Live.
You're gonna hear
VFX team. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour out of the end of our week and chat with some of our developers, get a feeling of what they work on, sometimes what they don't work on, and take questions from you, the Star Citizen community. So let's jump right into it. No more me. Get everybody in the group here. The VFX team. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome.
Hi.
It's been a while since we've done kind of a roundtable Q&A, so let's take a few minutes now, introduce everybody, because every show is somebody's first show. We're gonna start with you, Jacob. You go first.
Cool.
Who are you and what do you do?
Hello, I'm Jacob, and I'm a VFX technical artist at TNG.
What does a VFX technical artist do?
So mostly specialize in a software called Houdini. Despite the title, I don't always focus on VFX related stuff, and I'm kind of just anything relating to the software I kind of tackle and handle.
Like most tech artists, I think.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, the last one I did was for the character tech art team, so
okay.
All around everywhere.
I find that tech artists generally bridge a gap between artists and like programmers and stuff. It's making tools and stuff like that to help other people do their work. Am I wrong?
Just to make life easier.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, save you time from having to do repetitive things.
Leo, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Hello, I'm Leo. I'm a VFX programmer. I program VFX. Basically, I make sure that the VFX are being triggered at the correct time in game. Make sure they're running like optimized, like the performance isn't too bad. Things like that.
How does a programmer work with artists? What's that relationship like?
So usually VFX artists come to me with like, we want to bring this to life, like this certain effect, and then we have a discussion about like how to implement it, how to make sure that like it fits in like the performance requirements, and like that we have the required tech as well to actually do it. When I go to them, it's usually when there's a problem, when they made a mistake in the data, and then I go to them and then tell them,
that's what I
made a problem, please fix it for me.
That's what I was waiting for. Teo, how often does Leo tell you no, you can't do a thing?
I actually work a lot with Leo. I'm a VFX artist, so sometimes I come to him with something I'd like to do, and vice versa. But yeah, oftentimes it's him telling me that I've made a mistake. So yeah, he helps me to fix it.
Fair enough. And Mike, who are you? What do you do for Star Citizen?
Yes, so I'm Mike. I'm the VFX director. So the VFX team is run by me, basically. So yeah, all of the stuff that the guys have just said, I'm the umbrella with which all that is underneath, I guess. I mean, there's a veil of pretense there, I guess. I definitely go to Leo a lot, saying, "Leo, can we do this?" And then
I say
Leo would
no.
do the and then I say, "But really, can we?"
You still get in there and get your hands dirty every once in a while.
I do, yeah.
Just yesterday on ISC, we showed the Dying Star lightning doodle that you were working on.
Yes, yeah.
So,
yes, I did that. Yeah, I did that. I think you said it was an artist did it in a meeting. So yeah, I was just in another meeting and I had the editor open as we tend to do. Obviously, with the sort of world situation, we're all online in meetings a lot, but we're still sort of working in the editor. So yeah, I was messing around with the lightning regions, and the reason for that, I was legitimately doing work. I wasn't just playing. We're kind of revisiting the lightning with a view to a future release. So yeah, I just doodled with some effects, and they looked okay, I think.
All right. So if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, we take questions from the Star Citizen community. We take them from one of two different places. If you're watching live right now on Twitch, you can submit your question with the word question in capital letters surrounded by brackets. That's going to help our community management team pull it out of the chat and send it along to me. We also put up a thread earlier in the week on Spectrum, the communication platform up on robertspaceindustries.com, where we collected questions and let people vote up which questions they wanted to see answered most. As usual, a portion of the questions were for teams other than the VFX team. So if you're auditing the broadcast and you see that we're skipping some questions that were voted up, chances are it's because they were for a different team other than the VFX team. But right off the bat, we are going to start with the most voted up question. The most voted up question was a question for another team, but we went and researched some of the answer for you anyway. So we'll start right off. What is our progress on planetary in-atmosphere volumetric clouds?
Jump in straight with that, kind of. So yeah, I mean, just to reiterate what Joe just said, we aren't actually directly working on that. That is another team who's working on the planetary clouds themselves, like the creation and composition of the clouds. I can say that I've seen some fantastic progress recently over the last few months. I guess things have really picked up there. I know that, like Teo, for example, also excited about the clouds. Looking really good. We will come into that process at a later date, so definitely VFX will play a large part of making clouds work in the game. Our role there will be very similar to what we do with the gas clouds, so all the kind of internal effects that are in gas clouds or will be in gas clouds, that's kind of going to be similar with planetary clouds. and gas giants and things like that. Obviously, with clouds, it's a very specific type of effect. So it's just helping with the sense of motion. So it'd be very misty and damp and the wetness, I guess, of clouds. So I think that's probably where our work will kick in. I know Leo will be heavily involved in that from a code side of things. Yeah.
What is the team that's currently working on clouds? Is it it's not graphics? It's
I guess it's just core tech.
It's core engine. It's Bolty's team, isn't it?
Yeah. It's Marco's. Overall, it's Marco's team, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Core tech group.
Well, yeah. I've been trying to get Marco on a show for years. It might happen someday.
Right there.
Speaking of clouds, let's go to rain. It's a bit dry in the verse right now. Can you help? That's literally what the question is. It's a bit dry in the verse right now. Can you help? People want more rain. What can we tell them?
Blade Runner.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of follows on from what I just said, I guess. So once we're in a position where the clouds are in and those hurdles have been overcome, then absolutely rain is going to be a consideration. Rain's going to come from clouds, so you can't do rain until you've got the clouds. Again, like Leo, that's something we've chatted about recently, isn't it? That there's clouds that have rain. There's going to be other considerations other than just the markup of the actual cloud. But I remember you mentioning we're going to need to sort of understand that you're underneath the cloud for the markup for the rain, aren't you, as well?
Yeah. So for the clouds, we'll have to basically need to get access to the density of a cloud, and from there we'll have to kind of write systems that know, like, where are you compared to the cloud? Are you underneath the cloud? Like, is it a rainy cloud? Is it like not all clouds have rain, so we'll have to kind of make a weather system as well that takes in consideration the pressure, the temperature, the humidity. We have some basics already, and for that, but like with clouds, that it will get a lot more complex, and that's like one of the things that we'll need for rain to appear. But like at the another thing that we'll need is like rain isn't just like raindrops falling. Everything needs to look wet as well. So our surfaces need to look wet. We do have the visor and the canopy shaders where like raindrops appear on your visor, and that will like help a lot with the feeling of rain. But like there are still quite a few things that will need to be done before rain actually gets in.
Are you looking forward to the days when you have to tackle this, or are you dreading it?
I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like a really exciting project, and especially with the clouds. Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of. Yeah, well, we're getting a lot of questions in general about various weather effects. So why don't we just do kind of a catch-all topic on weather here? Mike, what are our current intentions as best as you know them? Realizing that this is a system bigger than just VFX. So as you're aware of them, what are our current intentions for weather in Star Citizen? How far are we looking to go?
Well, with CIG being CIG, and with the project that we're working on, we want full weather systems eventually, don't we? We want all of that. We want it to be. You want to be able to see it when you're on the planet or the moon. You want it to be able to see it from space as well. So obviously we've got fantastic real world reference and footage of these phenomena, and we want to get as close to that as we can in real time, and across a server. You want to be able to have. You're up in space, you're looking at the planet down there, and you can see this giant, let's just say a hurricane or a giant rain formation. You want to be able to see that from a distance, but there could be someone that's right in the middle of that, right in the thick of it, in a storm. And it's those two extremes and everything in between, as always for our game, but for the VFX in particular. So yeah, sandstorms, I've seen people asking questions about sandstorms. I feel like, just everything that you would expect from a weather system, we want to support that in the future for sure.
Gotcha. And it's my button to switch you back doesn't work. There it goes. So obviously we are at a very ambitious game, and we are going to pursue pushing this tech as far as we possibly can. That's not the same as us sitting here saying we're not. Mike's not saying here today there will be hurricanes in the game. He is saying that we absolutely want to pursue that in every other weather system, whether they make that in, whether they can be done with other necessities and other priorities for the game. That's one of those things that time will tell. But we definitely have a drive here.
Yeah, and the reality is that it wouldn't just be a VFX thing anyway, because the VFX team would create the thing that looks like a hurricane. But if we're talking about weather systems, then that's much higher up the chain. That's a very fundamental game system there. Yeah.
And we've already seen a lot of the groundwork, like Leo just said, that's there. The planet content team has gone through in all of their different planetary revisions. Like now, all the different biomes are set with humidity zones and stuff, and temperature zones and stuff like that. So we have the foundation for something like that already in place now through the work of the planet content team. So it's definitely something we're moving towards. What kind of visual effects can we expect with future stars and suns? Right now, we've only got the one sun at the center of the Stanton system. Have you guys started prototyping other kinds of stars, other kinds of suns?
I know someone who could answer that.
Are they here?
So yeah, I did a quick experiment, kind of mostly regarding my work with gas clouds, where we needed to start simulating magnetic fields to try to create a bit more organic kind of feel and give a bit more detail and life into things. And we can actually use that tech, and did try using it to create the details and vector fields to help move particles, to try and simulate the movement as with the sun. So you get the surface movement, as well as some of the corona flares kind of coming out. It was a good kind of test, initial test. It was good, highlighting where we might need to improve on in the future, and where we could definitely add to it. It does have a lot of potential to just look absolutely awesome.
Does that kind of thing extend to something like an aurora borealis in the atmosphere of a planet or something?
Potentially, it does create that kind of aurora borealis kind of. It's partly due to positive ions kind of hitting the atmosphere, which is a magnetic field, and you get that movement because of the magnetic field. So you inherently get that movement from it. So yes, it can be used to generate the vector field required for it. But I know Mike has also done tests way back in the past to show off the whole particle system, creating aurora borealis just from particles alone. So you've got many different ways to do.
That takes me back. That was when we first had the spline guided particles, wasn't it? I think. Yeah.
The pyro system actually might require that sort of stuff. Sun flares mostly.
Right.
There was talk about it back when we did Star Citizen Con. So more tests probably will be made towards that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had discussions with other teams actually regarding solar flares. One question that I would straight away ask with something like that is like, how close can the player actually get to that thing? Because Jake could make an absolutely phenomenally accurate looking sun-like creation with potential for really nice solar flows. But if design, before that, take a step back, like if design decided that actually you couldn't get that close because there's no tech in the game, and this is just purely speculating, by the way, but if you can't get close enough to it, then why invest all that time and resources into making it look so detailed?
Is it oh, we'll get to that one later. Let's look at the chat here. How close are we to seeing lightning or anything dynamic inside gas clouds?
Am I allowed to say we're quite close? Is that non-committal? Or?
I actually have a scale. I was having to explain this to somebody. If I say if I say in the near future or in an upcoming release, I'm talking 6 to 9 months out. If I say across our continuing development, I'm talking 9 months out or more, like that. So I have a whole code that I use, but nobody else does.
Well, without putting a time frame on it, obviously, as I mentioned earlier on, like I've been looking at the lightning effects options that we've got in the game. We must have shown. I mean, I know we've shown over the last couple of years examples of really nice looking lightning. We can do really cool stuff in our engine. What I'm doing at the moment, part of my sort of ongoing Q1 task, is I'm looking at the tool set to sort of see if it's user friendly enough, to see if it can do all the things that I know we're going to need to be able to do when we have lightning in pyro locations, like say in a gas cloud in pyro. Perhaps the art director Ian wants that, let's just say, for example. I need to make sure that we're able to do that. And then the other side of it, what we can't currently do, what we haven't fully implemented yet, is like the systemic placement of the lightning. So in various citizen cons, actually thinking about it now, we've kind of shown what we want to do in the gas clouds. We can currently manually place really, really good looking lightning, but we want to, and this is where Leo again would come in, and the other VFX programmers, we want to have a system where the data of the gas cloud drives those effects. So maybe design want lightning to become increasingly stronger the closer the player gets to an area that is dangerous, or maybe it needs to just be more frequently flaring up and frequently occurring, and whichever design decision gets made there will dictate how Leo implements that lightning. So yeah, it's coming along, and I appreciate it. Kind of these things sometimes take longer than might be expected, but lightning is a very, very powerful thing that we've got in our game. Yeah, and it's really fun to play with this one. It's good fun.
So basically, it's all in Leo.
I mean, it usually is. You know, we're the artists. We just oh hey, I want to be able to do this really cool thing. Can you go and work out all the details, please?
No, we do have like a team of programmers for the VFX team as well. Right. So we'll share the burden. But yeah, I mean, like the lightning, it again, it's one of those interesting projects. I think they're almost all the projects we do are like interesting because we get to do more than just like implement the lightning that you place in a location. What we want for our game, like everything needs to be systemic. So the lightning needs to be dynamically spawned, let's say. And currently we have the tech to place the lightning just in a level, but that doesn't really work at the scale that we want to develop the game. So for us, like we've had a lot of discussions about this already, and it will come down to like how do we drive this lightning systemic. So do we have like some kind of electricity value in the gas cloud, and then different gas clouds can have different electricity values, and then if you go into the denser parts of the gas clouds, you have more lightning, and then like lightning is spawned in the denser parts. And then for the programmers, it's how do we manage all those lightnings that they are kind of like separate objects. So how do we manage them? How do we make sure that we don't spawn too many like lightning objects and those kind of things? So it's quite interesting to work on these kind of projects.
One of the things I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you want a visual update on how that might look, if you catch the end of the main CitizenCon 2019 presentation, when the ship, when the Carrack arrives in the pyro system, there are some of those lightning events happening in the background. That's the system that we're talking about.
Yeah. And you made them, didn't you?
I placed them. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things I really liked about your doodle that we showed yesterday, Mike, was how the emissive lighting system just followed the lightning out as the lightning was growing. You could see it, you know, emitting light throughout the cloud as it was going, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, 'cause I was testing two things at the same time then, because that was a custom build with the new particle lighting model that's underway. And again, Teo, I know you're a big fan. Caleb, our principal's been really putting it through its paces. Simon, the lead VFX programmer, has been implementing this new lighting model. And yeah, as you say, Jared, so having large scale sort of like dusty, cloudy effects, traditionally that's really difficult. Like, you know, we use texture. The bigger the thing is, the more obvious it is that it's using a texture, and the less the lighting can affect smaller areas. But this lighting model is looking really promising. It's very physically based. That's I'm sure Simon's rolling his eyes as I just say that, but it's like there's a much more authentic sort of lighting set of rules that it adheres to that makes it harder for us to break, basically, which is important, because with the scale and amount of effects in our game, like it's the rules, the way that the lighting behaves has to be consistent. Yeah. Otherwise it can become, our effects can just break and not hold up in different lighting settings.
Systemic systems have to be at the heart of so much. Otherwise sure. it runs the risk of getting away from us.
Yep.
Let's talk about the new shield reworks. We saw the first version of SDF shields in 3.12.1, I guess technically, when the Idris and the Javelin came out with the Xeno threat event. We know in 3.13 that now the rest of the ships that players can own and fly and stuff like that are all being converted to SDF shields. With the new shield reworks, are we going to be able to see better when front shields are being hit? And I know that this is a particularly valid talking point that we've had internally. I've seen you in meetings specifically about finding ways to improve that visibility.
100% yes. I mean that was very high up on the list when we did the shield rework using the SDFs. Definitely, I was conscious that the existing effects are just too intrusive on the wind, on the cockpit view. So that was 100% at the top of the list for things that we need to improve. So yeah, we've done that. It's going to be, you're not going to get as annoyed, hopefully, by the impact effects. It's tricky because you've got to find a balance, because you still need to acknowledge that it's like that part of the shield is getting hit. We can't just cheat and just not have anything draw, because then from a gameplay point of view, you've lost that readability. So it's just a balancing act that the artist has to strike to make sure that the effects still work from the exterior view and still adhere to all the gameplay requirements there, i.e. changing color to reflect the weakening of the shield. But yeah, I mean it's one of my pet peeves, if I'm being honest, when especially with testing all the weapon effects, as I was doing a lot last year, getting that shield just covering the screen all the time. Yeah, we're going to improve that.
Cool. Let's see. What else do we got? Another very popular one in chat here. Do you plan to update the quantum travel effects?
We do plan to do that. Yeah. This is another example, I guess, where it's not just something that the VFX team on their own would do. Like, I hope I just don't sound like I'm repeating the same thing, but our effects are driven by other things. So there's a lot of kind of gameplay mechanisms that trigger the actual ship going into quantum travel itself, and our effects are very much driven by that. So there's a lot of factors there, speed and the spool up and all those kind of things. Lots of hooks. I use the word hooks quite a bit, for which we can spawn our effects. But yeah, I mean, because now we've got SDF shields as well that came in first with atmospheric entry, and then we're using for shields. There's no reason why we shouldn't be trying to use SDFs on other effects, and quantum travel will be a great example of that, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a moment here. Sam Citizen Markley. I see Sam Citizen Markley in the chat right now, and I want to talk to Sam Citizen Markley. We used some of Sam's footage in ISC yesterday. You know how we take community footage and we always kind of attribute who it was. We accidentally attributed his footage to Rexzilla, and we caught it after the episode went live. So Sam, I see you in the chat. I appreciate your footage, and I hope you accept my humble apology for incorrectly attributing your footage to another Star Citizen. I had the opportunity. I was like, hey.
I just want to say the footage that our backers show is just incredible. I never get bored of seeing it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Plus,
it helps us debug a lot of issues that we have in the actual.
Yeah, and it was great footage of the upcoming Stanton 7 race. And if you don't know what the Stanton 7 stuff is, check that out. Ask a friend, because that looks pretty cool coming up. All right. Is there any chance ships maneuvering VFX will increase in size or intensity in the future? The Carrack, for instance, demonstrates palpable vertical thrust cones when strafing upwards, but most spacecraft produce small candle-like flames representing multiple Gs. What were you thinking? No, I added that last part.
Yeah, definitely. So I just want to make sure I'm not the only person talking, by the way. I've got a habit of just saying things first. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate that a lot of the maneuvering thrusters got that sort of potential for looking a bit like a candle flame compared to the main thrusters. Sometimes it's just the scale of the actual thruster item itself. You know, if the ship has a really small nozzle, then it's probably going to look even worse if I give it this ridiculously oversized, like 5 times longer than the ship effect. You know what I mean? It's not always going to work. Yeah. So it's definitely, we're sort of definitely at the mercy of the ship design in that sense. But there's definitely things like, I guess relating to that, we're doing some work at the moment on thruster wind volumes, and it's all sort of, what that is specifically is we want to make sure that the effects match the physical volume that these thrusters generate. Because I think it came in, did it come in 312? Or we got the thruster volumes? Teo, can you remember?
Yeah. You're the force, like
yeah, the
you
physical
being affected
force
by the force. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just need to make sure that our effects properly match the physical force itself. So yeah, we're doing some work on that. Leo, I guess you got some knowledge on that system. If it's worth us talking about that a bit.
I mean, yeah, I feel like there are different things that we could do. That, for example, like increase, like add a separate strength value, or like have some kind of dynamic behavior based on if you're in the atmosphere. We already do something similar for shock diamonds on the main thrusters. So potentially we could use like that data we do have anyway to do something special with those, like the smaller thrusters if necessary. I mean, the ground effects, as you mentioned, with like the per thruster wind volumes, I think they will help quite a bit as well to give more punch to the thrusters, especially if you're close to the ground.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because it's not necessarily that we want to have a really hot, emissive, long thrust effect that you can clearly see hitting the floor. If you're sort of high up and there's enough force coming from a smaller thruster that is displacing all that snow or that sand or whatever the surface is, then I think that will help as well for sure. And that's definitely in the works.
You mentioned you mentioned that your work on the thrusters is directly dependent on the work that comes before you, which is the size and placement of the thrusters themselves. A lot of what you tend to work on, this is similar of the VFX team as well as teams like the audio team, tends to be downstream of so many other teams. Is that a good thing? Be honest here. Is this a good thing for you guys? Is this a frustrating thing for you guys? Is this just one of those things that has to be that way in video games?
I mean, it can be. I guess it can be frustrating, but it's not. It is the way it's got to be. You know, audio are the most downstream, I should add as well, because any effects that we make, then audio have got to like provide the audio that matches the thing we've made. But it's just part of the process, you know. As you say, like you said downstream, and that is a phrase that everyone hears a lot in CIG. It affects the scheduling, you know. Like we can't make thrusters effects until the thruster exists. So maybe from a scheduling point of view, it makes things more complicated because there's more. It's a bigger web, isn't it? There's more things that need to come into place. I don't think it's frustrating in the sense that that we get frustrated with other people at all. It's just the nature of the pipeline, isn't it? It's all part of the pipeline.
Somebody has to be at the end of a pipeline. That is the virtue and nature of a pipeline.
It's not us, it's audio.
So basically, everybody pour one out for the audio team. F's in chat. They're the ones with the biggest struggle, but we absolutely appreciate them.
But we work closely with them as well. Like we've got a good relationship with the audio guys. So yeah, it's all good.
Well, yeah, because you could do all the work you want to make a cool thruster, but when players get it, they just hear this.
That's a great point. That's a really good point. You know what? It's like sometimes the audio can make an effect look better.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have said that in the past, but it's really true. The weapons in particular, we did a big pass on improving vehicle weapon effects throughout the sort of latter half of last year, and without Darren, the audio director, and his team making the weapons sound better, it would have made my life more difficult. So it's a great sort of collaboration process.
We love Darren and Phil and Graham and everybody on that team, and this isn't my attempt to get them to come back on the show.
I want to add to what Mike said that we're not always downstream either. Like in some cases, like some projects, we're actually the driving team almost, or we're in quite early that we become a driving team. For example, the weather effects or the planetary effects that we have on the planets right now, we were quite early with like starting to add those things. So we were in charge of actually implementing wind and we needed the wind for our effects, and other teams have started using the same kind of wind system that we added. Because like if we have it, like they can use it just as well, right? And there are like some other examples, like the fire that we're kind of working on right now. That like it's again like a system that's very VFX heavy, but it will affect quite a lot of gameplay as well. Another one is like atmospheric pressure was something we already had, but like VFX team has been implemented them on planets, gas clouds, like the support for planets and gas clouds, because we needed them on like the pressure value, because it drives a lot of our effects. So we just added it on planets and on gas clouds, and now like a lot of gameplay systems also use that same pressure that we've been adding. So it's not like I think it's part of our company as well, because we're quite a big VFX team. I think we're kind of like in a special place where we can actually drive projects as well as be a downstream team.
That's really well said. Thank you, Leo. Since planets and moons have different atmospheric composition, do you plan to design different re-entry VFX effects based on the gas being burned and the temperature it reaches on compression?
I think it's a really nice idea. It's definitely something that I think that would be worth looking into for the future. Definitely. I think it's feasible. It's definitely feasible, and again, probably Leo will be able to talk a bit about the way that those effects are set up, because again, it's a great example of a system that's driving the effects. So yeah, I mean, for me, it makes a lot of sense. It's entirely typical of our game, isn't it? It's a visually nice feature, but it's also going to give sort of readability to the player from a gameplay point of view as well. So very important visually and for gameplay too. But yeah, in terms of the setup, I suspect that that's perfectly feasible.
I don't know if you remember. Oh, sorry, Leo, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, you.
I don't know if you remember when I was working on the atmospheric entry effects. I actually pitched different colors based off the. That's a very large jug, Jared.
Oh, but my camera was turned off. They couldn't see it.
Different. I actually wanted that to be in the first release, but it didn't really make sense because first of all, we needed a stable visual state for it, but also we didn't have that many different atmospheric compositions. So anyway, that idea was put on the side, but yeah, as Mike said, it's possible and would look cool.
Yeah, from a technical point of view, it's definitely possible. We do have all the data available on the ship to actually trigger those effects. It would be kind of more a challenge to get like a good setup that's easy to set up for artists, and that's like systemic again. Like we always need everything to be systemic. It's necessary because like we want this to work on like hundreds of planets, like all with different atmospheres. So like,
it's all about the strength curves, Leo.
Maybe color, maybe size, like who knows. But yeah, it's like it's definitely possible, something like that. So for us, it's like the first step we need is kind of like an investigation of what affects what changes would we have based on the atmosphere. So does it affect color? Does it affect size? Does it affect, like, is it a completely different effect because it's acidic or whatever? Like those kind of things. And then we need to go or like artists at least will go and like do pre-production. And I think Mike can tell more about it, but it's like artists will tell us like what do they want, and then we go and discuss like options of like how we can implement it.
Yeah, Leo just mentioned pre-production. That's a massive part of the VFX pipeline, and it's really just R&D. You know, it by the end, before anyone does any effects, they have to have done a pre-production pass for something really simple or something that we've done a lot of before. Let's just say like a muzzle flash. The pre-production still exists, but it's probably a very small task, like identifying, there's an existing weapon in the game. It needs to look like this. So there you go. We've ticked that box. We know what it needs to look like. But for something exploratory, like what Leo's describing, it really is. It's just going through a process of understanding what it could look like, what it needs to do from a gameplay point of view. Is it performant? Is it going to be just ridiculously complicated to implement? Like, is it going to be a year of a programmer's time, etc., etc.? So yeah, lots of exploration in pre-production. Yeah.
No, I will not be jug shamed on my own show. If you want to see my extra large jug, you can tune into my private streams on the weekend. As a follow-up to that one, with the shield effects rework coming soon, will we see unique patterns for shield manufacturers and a fusion of different patterns, perhaps when mixing shields? They want customized VFX, man. They want customized.
It's entirely feasible, and it's definitely something we talked about. So I think that the main thing for me is that I want to get to a point where the tech that we've got and the visuals are rock solid initially. Like this initial release, it's just the one style. It does what the designers needed to do. It looks good. It's efficient, etc., etc. But yeah, for sure, like we like to, with all our VFX, we like to theme them. We like to be able to make the effects different per manufacturer. We've done that with thrusters for however many years I've been here, nearly 7. So yeah, I think it's perfectly feasible. I think Jake, I'm going to ask Jake a question. I'm going to put him on the spot. So like 3D textures, we probably would use. We've talked about using 3D textures to define the shape, like to give some pattern. And I guess that's the kind of thing where I might go to you and say, hey, how can we use Houdini to quickly generate some nice variety of 3D textures? I'm not asking, just to be clear, I'm not asking you to do that as a task. It's just a theoretical question.
This sounds like he's making work for you, Jake.
I mean, I'm not quite sure how do you want me to give you a solution now, or
no.
Say yes, I can do it.
Say yes, that's probably possible. In future.
Yes, Mike, it'll be possible.
There you go.
All right. We've got still a lot of questions about quantum entry. Can we expect to see, as a third person, some kind of quantum entry and exit VFX when another ship jumps in or arrives in the future? I know this has been a long talked about thing.
Yeah, this is a this is a topic that crops up all the time. To be honest, like it's something that design will regularly remind me needs to be a thing, and it's all about the setup again. So it's to do with the hooks that we've got from the system, from the underlying system, and if it provides us with the opportunity to spawn an effect, then yeah, we'll do it. Teo, you did a kind of a pitch, didn't you, for quantum travel improvements, just generally. So
yeah,
that played a part, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like things to be clear what's happening. When well, there's your joke, Jared. So when ships arrive in your vicinity, it would feel it's sound and look so cool if there was something really punchy there, because it's an aggressive sort of action that's happening. So I would love, I mean, for me, I love all the sci-fi tropes of ships jumping in with like very large flashes, and yeah, I've tried a couple of things, and I'm hoping to. I think I had a task to actually work on it, and then it disappeared because other things came into priority. But
yeah, we've moved it around, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean the when we first did quantum travel, because it's gone through some iterations, and I mean the actual underlying setup, the tech, the system itself. So when we first did quantum travel, it was in some ways it was a lot more straightforward. We just had like very simple timings, like the spool up happens now, then it initiates, and then it stops, and we had all those kind of things. But yeah, we were primarily concerned with the view for the player doing the QT. But yeah. Hopefully, I've not rambled too much there, but yeah, we acknowledge that's going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. No problem. What's the most impactful VFX that you've done that no one thinks to ask about? There's a bit of, if you do your job right, no one notices in every job. But if you could highlight something, what would it be?
I'm sure everyone in this chat's got something. Does anyone else want to go before I start rambling again?
I would just say that the conversion work we did from CPU particles to GPU particles, I think is something that no one really noticed and nobody really talked about, but it had an incredible impact on performance. Just the other day when I switched some of the distortion impacts effects, I noticeably felt a reduction in sort of this kind of like a micro lag. I don't know, like it wasn't a drop in performance, but it did feel better. And yeah, that's not talked about a lot. And the entire team does a lot on for that work.
That's a great shout, yeah, because yeah, a lot of our, even though we've had the GPU particle system for a long time, just for the sheer volume of effects in our game, that there are still quite a few CPU ones that we want to eventually replace with GPU. And as Teo said, doing that actually provides not necessarily, so it's slightly intangible, but it provides a performance boost. And actually, in our game, a really small performance boost for one scenario like that. If you think about 20 ships, however many ships, all firing that weapon, the performance gains are big, and that's a huge win for the player. I guess I've got kind of a similar sort of thing, I guess, but we got laser projectiles. We had the VFX programmers gave me a minimum pixel distance option on the projectile shader that we use, and what that means is that I can keep that projectile, as long as it's alive and it's on screen, it just keeps it at a minimum amount of pixels. And even though that's a really minor thing seemingly, in the field of battle, that was absolutely invaluable, because it meant that you could still see them. It's just a readability thing. It just meant in in combat, it just made a difference that people probably wouldn't have really thought much of.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so as a programmer, it's a bit different. Like the small gains that we do is more for the artists, I would say. It's I mean, like, we do performance improvements and those kind of things, but like the small things, like making the setup easier, or finding like good formula, like we have the wingtip vortices on ships. It's all physically based, and as long as like the planet and the gas clouds are set up with pressure and temperature and humidity combinations, it will work with different combinations, and it means less setup for artists. So as long as they make sure the effect is set up on the ship, they don't have to tweak values of like, we want this here, this there. It's been like a kind of long process, but I think we got like some good formulas, like physically based formulas, and it's quite satisfying finding those and making the future set up for ships and like anything better for artists and easier.
Has anybody ever told you look like Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No, that's the first.
It's the first. You've never heard that before?
No, really not. Like, I've been compared to another YouTuber, famous YouTuber, but never Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Can you just say hello there?
Hmm?
Can you just say
I'm
hello
sorry?
there? Can you just say hello there?
Hello there.
Oh,
hello there. I don't know.
Stop.
How about how about you were the chosen one?
You were the chosen one.
This is too much.
Sorry, chat's been having fun with it, so they think you look like Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is a good thing, by the way.
Yeah. I was just going to say that's quite nice.
It's better than what I get half the time.
Leo has a very Jedi-like presence, I'd like to add.
I think that's probably
when
what
you're in
lends
the
to
room
it.
with
I think
him.
it's probably
Yeah.
what lends to it.
Yeah.
It's a diversion. Gas clouds currently look great from perspective, but once inside, it's very difficult to see their beauty and volume, feeling more like a thick fog. In a recent video you were working on, we saw that you were making them react to sunbeams and other light sources. How is that going?
Yeah, so for the initial gas cloud release that went into 3.12, we did have the effects, the interior effects. And when I say interior effects, I mean all the kind of small, high velocity, high sort of detail noise that gives you that sense of parallax. We had all that working and it was all ready to go, but unfortunately there were just some of the hooks, like we were dependent on it was the pressure value, wasn't it, of the gas cloud via the room system. That wasn't quite ready to ship because there were some knock-ons to the actor status, I think. So we had to just the designers had to just keep the pressure set to 0. So we are working on that at the moment, getting that back in. Everyone in this call actually is sort of been working on that. I mean, Jacob, yourself, like you provide the method of creating the gas cloud in the first place, don't you, for the artist? Or you're integral to that process. So yeah, losing my thread here, but yeah, we're working on it, and it's all happening. It's all going quite well. I think Teo and Leo got together and added a really nice new feature, which is. Do you want to talk about that? The collision effects.
Yeah, sure. It's basically inside the gas clouds. Some of them are themed differently. Some of the themes are like asteroid field or mining themed, and you would expect little rocks or micro asteroids flying about. And when the ships go quite fast, so when they do go quite fast, you'd expect those items to interact with the ship. So the rocks would interact with the ship's hull and break apart as you fly through the gas clouds. There'll also be some metal bits in some cases, but yeah, all of those will interact with your ship and it'll feel really cool. And audio actually are hopefully going to pizzazz it up and add that extra layer. But yeah, it's coming along.
Looks really cool. Like I'm quite excited about it. And the cool thing, like from my side, was that it's using existing tech for the atmospheric entry. So it's using the SDF. It's using the same kind of system for dynamically placing the emitter so that it follows the direction of the ship. And kind of it was like a relatively quick thing to add on our side that
We'll see
I
you on the
think
next
will
one.
give a lot of like extra nice like environment. Yeah.
Okay. We got about 9 minutes left. It's been well over a year, if not longer, since the extremely cool heat haze effect on Daymar disappeared completely. No matter if in cold or really hot conditions, are there plans on bringing this effect back to Daymar?
Yes, there are. I want to make a bad joke about it being hot, not cool. But yeah, I mean, it was something. I think it was just something that the actual effect itself is a fairly simple one. But I think as part of various amazing improvements to the planet tech itself, I think that it kind of just got lost in the way, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, the creation of the effects is dead straightforward. We just need to figure out the appropriate way to hook them back up again. And actually, it'll be systemic, to use that word again, because it will be, hooked up to the actual the planetary data, the temperature itself, and probably the humidity, I guess, Leo. Did that play a part?
Potentially, I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
What exactly makes it do that? But yeah.
That's what I like about Leo. So Leo, I just ask a simple, well, not a simple question. I ask for something, and Leo goes and researches the actual real world criteria for something occurring. So then we get it all in the game.
Speaking of real world criteria for stuff, how are the directional rain and snow effects going in regards to wind direction? When this player strafes sideways in inclement weather, the water seems to still flow as if they're moving forward, regardless of which direction they're facing. What's happening there?
It should. I think I'm allowed to say it should be working. It should be like the setup that we created for those directional effects was incredibly complex, actually, and the intricate setup, and it is actually taking the direction and the wind strength and direction, isn't it, Leo?
Yeah. So we're using the movement direction, the wind direction, the gravity, I think, as well. It might be a bug where we're simulating the rain erupts on a flat plane, and the plane is then kind of wrapped around, or like it needs to be wrapped on the different faces of the canopy and like the glass. So either there is something wrong with like the UVs, which map the flat plane to the mesh, or it's one of the edge cases where the because it's simulated on a flat plane, we can't really get all the direction perfectly covered, and that might be an edge case. So we have to see the ship itself and see like how it behaves, and maybe send it to our team to fix up the UVs, or could be a few things.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew, didn't we, that some of the ships would probably provide more extreme edge cases than others as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it should be working like for most ships and most cases.
Report ships where it's not working to the issue council, if possible.
Let's see if we can get one more quantum drive question here, because there have been a lot. Can the currently the quantum drive friction effect at the front of the ship is a pre-calculated particle effect? Are you planning to convert it to a more dynamic effect like the new atmospheric reentry one?
Yeah. Again, I think earlier on we were talking about probably making use of signed distance fields for the eventual rework of the quantum travel effects, and this would be a great use case for it. If you think about the change we made to the atmospheric entry effects with SDFs versus the old one, just think of the same kind of thing with the quantum travel. I'm not saying visually, but with the use of the shape of the ship and the more authentic looking interaction. So
Okay, let's see what else. Why don't the Carrack's engines have heat waves, the visual heat that the engine flames create, like the Hammerhead or so many other ships?
So I saw this question, and as I was looking at the question, I loaded up the editor and did a little bit of digging into it.
It's my favorite ship, Mike.
It's a beautiful ship. I was a bit confused because we should have. I thought it was a bug initially. I just thought, oh, maybe it's just not working as expected. But it just looks like the settings needed a bit of tweaking. So that's something I started playing around with. That I need to make sure I've got that file checked out because I made some changes yesterday to it to get the heat waves back again. So yeah, that should be coming in a future patch.
Nice. Let's see. Okay, let's so I'm trying to get more in from the live here. Do you have any more types of space anomalies like your work on gas clouds planned? Comets, black holes, anything you're ready to chat about?
Space whales.
I mean, black holes. I'm not sure that we've done any research into that so far, but comets have come up in conversations for sure. I think when we started to show the atmospheric burn up, Teo took a really nice video where there's a ship passing through the atmosphere, but it's right off in the distance, and it just looks like a burning up meteor. And you were probably in it, Jared, but it was in one of the weekly updates, and immediately Ian was talking about, oh, I mean, yeah, let's be great to get loads of comets coming through. And then the designer's like, yeah, but then it's going to land somewhere, and then it could be like a new location, and there's all these gameplay opportunities. So
everybody was excited except the level designers. Like everybody was excited. You could just see the level designers, and I mean, just like
the guys who have got to make it a reality.
Perhaps the jump gates, the wormhole jump gates would be a space anomaly, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last question, gentlemen. What's a future system / process / mechanic not yet implemented in the game that you're most excited to work on?
Definitely fire for me. Fire because it's terrifying, but it's also really exciting because of the not really even to do with the visuals, but just the gameplay opportunities that it brings, and the sheer game-changing nature of it, and how all departments at CIG need to come together to really take advantage of it. But I'm pretty sure we've shown some videos in from our updates, showing the potential, showing the possibilities. Leo, obviously you and Pat in particular, but the VFX programmers are just creating some amazing setups. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, of course, it's the big project I'm currently working on, so it's the same answer for me.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it's quite nice. Like, we've shown like demo and some videos on IC, I think, but currently we're kind of working on getting it working with the rest of the game. So before we had like a separate kind of like prototype, and now that we're kind of implementing it and integrating it with the rest of the game, there are some kind of nice situations that kind of already pop up and like problems to solve. So yeah, it's
yeah. I've laid off on showing them this quarter. I show they were my thematic through line for Q4 of last year, and then this quarter has been the outposts, following them each week. So I try to lay off so that some of the surprise can still be preserved for players to discover in the game. I think sometimes people think the job is to spoil everything in the game in our videos and just to show everything, but we do actually attempt to balance that stuff and preserve some stuff for discovery for players, like Xenothreat. So you know how hard it was not to talk about Xenothreat for 6 months? All right, gentlemen, that's it. That's the show. You made it. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Mike, Leo, Teo, and Jake, Thank you so much. We're gonna raid. We haven't raided anybody in a while, and I'm getting a message from Tyler here that we're gonna attempt to raid somebody right now. They have no idea it's coming. It's a Star Citizen streamer who's broadcasting right now on Twitch. Their name is Subliminals TV. They seem pretty cool. I watched a stream with them one time a couple months ago. They were working on becoming a full-time streamer if they could. So I have no idea what they're doing because I've been here doing this show. So be sure to wipe your feet before you walk in the door. Behave yourselves and say. I was just and when you get there, in your best Obi-Wan voice, say hello there. On behalf of my friend Leo, we'll see you all next week. Everybody, take care.
See you.
So a lot to take in from that 1 hour and 16-minute special on SEL, and I mean a lot of good stuff they talked about. Probably for me, one of the most enjoyable VFX that I've seen in a while. I mean, they talked about a lot of good stuff in terms of lighting, in terms of weather. Because I asked Griff that question over the weekend, and Griff was like, "Maybe don't forget," So. But I was really focused in on the weather. When am I gonna get this weather in? Because you play games like Valheim and things like that, and boy, do they got that weather on point, right?
Yeah.
And then when they explained that, it's not as easy as you think. That one thing spawns off of another and spawns off another, which creates this. So, and Mr. Obi-Wan, right? Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi went ahead and said it best about trying to make sure that you got weather that you can able to actually see the rain come down. Not every cloud has rain in it. I'm assuming he's saying some clouds may have chemical rain like acid or things like that and so forth. And especially the texture of the rain. You got to see wet ground, right? If you're going to see rain. So
they gave you a red rain.
Right. So it's going to be interesting. What do you guys think? We'll start off with Kimmy.
No, start with the guests. Start with the guests, please.
Start with the guests. I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies. Good.
Before they fall asleep.
A lack of civility. We'll start with Admiral Kusanagi. What do you think, buddy?
I thought it was very good. Yeah, I have nothing. I think they're going in the right direction, and I'm sure somebody else can add more to that. But I just kind of I'm just pleased that where things are going. When it comes to the rain, though, I mean, as long as I can have it like drop off of a roof, and I can like hold it in my hand and like make a little pool of water, and I can drink it. That'll be my my medal of success that Star Citizen succeeded. I have to be able to drink the water off of a roof, out of the sky.
Keep dreaming on that one. Fist to face. What do you think, sir?
Hey, all right. I have a scenario here for you guys. All right. So me and Pops just was talking about it as the video was playing, and he came up and said, think about it. Okay, with the weather, right? You have cargo, some time sensitive cargo, and you're trying to get down to Laurelville, right? But Laurelville's being hammered by a severe thunderstorm or hurricane. You got to think about how does that make your gameplay, work out, because how are you going to land a caterpillar in a hurricane,
Yeah.
Explosively.
Exactly.
It's going to be volatile cargo that you can't use quantum with.
So now you've got to really think about your piloting skills. One, if you're going to attempt that,
That's a good point. In real world, certain airports are avoided because of torrential weather by planes. They have to loiter, and what if you don't have enough fuel?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it though too. Yeah. What if Laurelville says, because who is the gentleman that that you get the mission from in Laurelville? I think it's Constantine Hurston.
Yeah, Constantine Hurston.
Right. So let's say, from what I understand, the org mate told me he's a bad guy, right? I don't know, maybe. But let's say you get a mission from somebody like him in Laurelville, and they say, listen, I need you to go get this and transport it back, and it's time sensitive, and I need it to be here no matter what. You know what I mean? So, and like I said again, you got this big weather system just, hammering you. You trying to get down into there, and I mean, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your reputation could take a hit. Yeah.
Well, I think
Good point.
I think this is going to
J2,
bring
what
up
do you give me a second, Admiral J2? What do you think about the type of the VFX, especially when I guess the guy that's in charge sat there and said he said a key word to me. He said that the weather is fundamental gameplay, fundamental, and which basically means that it's not just fundamental, but it's not just the basics, but it's essential. So, what do you think about their attempt at describing weather dynamics as fundamental and how important it is to get into the game as soon as possible?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know if I'd call it fundamental, at least not as far as, at least not in the stage of development we're at. As it is, Star Citizen is one of the most gorgeous games on the market. Even if they were to stop all VFX development right now, it would still remain one of the most beautiful games out there for quite a while. So as far as VFX are concerned, I mean, yeah, it's great. They make everything look better, but in the long run, I want gameplay. It already looks good. I don't need it to look better right now. That's the kind of shit that they can, fuck with later on down the line. But they do have these dedicated teams to do VFX, and they need, to give these guys something to do. So I understand why they're doing it. I don't know if I'd call it fundamental, though.
Interesting. Go Map, what do you think, buddy, about the VFX team?
Well, no, just seriously, I missed some of it. Can you play it again? I'll just sit around for another hour and a half. No, I kind of understand where J2's coming from. It's, I think, like you said, it is right now, every time I log into the game and I go through the station, call my ship, get in the elevator, get in the ship, fly away, and look around and see. I'm constantly in awe from just flying through space or landing on a planet or interacting with different things. The game is already beautiful, and yes, there are different. They just talked an hour about ways they could make it more beautiful, and that's it's going to be continued development. I know the answer is always there's teams that do stuff, but I'm gonna be selfish and say there's a whole lot of other stuff I want to come first. I can appreciate that they have segmented out the tasks and different groups of focus on different things, have different priorities.
That's interesting. I have a completely different perspective on that. Kimmy, what do you think, buddy?
They have a lot of work to do. Bottom line, as we start to expand out, they're already talking about Pyro, Nyx, all these other places. And when you talk about these other locations, the lore team is tied to that. And so they have to get information from them to identify and actually parallel those bits and pieces of what the lore is saying about these locations. And they have to mimic that. So when you say mentally, they do have a bookmark of what they have to do in that regard of the effects that they'll need. Like for example, they mentioned with clouds, you're not going to get the rain until we have the clouds. And so, when you say fundamentals, it's the tech, that's the underlying tech that's behind the scenes. So that they're laying down the groundwork so that they can go from here to there, and also creating those dev tools that will allow them to place things and objects where they need to place them, and then just make some minor adjustments. In a perfect world, that's the process. But again, it's the team is basically for sure they need to ramp up with more personnel, because this thing is going to start to expand by the end of the year. By the end of this year, the back-end services are going to come into play. And now you're talking about expansion of the persistent universe as we see it. And Chris is adamant about it being this living, breathing world that blurs the line between game and simulator. Some realism in that effect, like Area 18 with rain, and they spoke about rain, and then to the details of that rain will sit there and muster for a while before it evaporates. So they got a lot to do, but it's interesting to see that we're getting just the essentials for the Stanton area, like the clouds. That's so key. And then the alien type things. Fist to face. Thanks for the sub. And so then we're going to see the more alien type of effects. That's kind of outer world type stuff, like sci-fi based stuff. But at the same time, will capture our imaginations, but will have something to do with how we react and how they affect us. Like Dark Knight was saying, hey, I'm in my great cat and lightning strikes are hitting the moon or planet. And like, am I grounded or what? So I'm like, dude, I'm in the ship.
Yeah, it could be quite interesting to see. All right, so as we wrap this section up, we're going to the last one. Kimmy, go ahead and hit us off on machinima.
Yes, we are going to do the machinima, and this segment is about, I think it's about what, 15. Let's see, Okay, so this one is by the Gemini, by the Borealis Industries, machinima, Gemini Everlasting. This is episode 1, and it's this is done by the group Borealis Industries. So
it's about like 10
Let's
minutes.
cue it up. Yeah.
Mayday, mayday! All receiving traffic. Pisces 1 taking heavy, accurate, and sustained fire. Making an unsanctioned jump into Earth's atmosphere. I say again, mayday, mayday, mayday!
Lorville, the big city. It's the only remnant of life left on this planet after Hurston Dynamics destroyed its ecosphere. Built on the backs of miners and salvagers. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. At least that's what they tell us. Truth is, you're either born here or lost. Out-of-towners can't handle the air. We call them bagheads. They always seem adrift and without a purpose. They don't talk much. Then there's people like me, Huck. Born and raised in this little slice of paradise, following in my parents' footsteps as an engineer. Living life to the fullest. Right. When you have access to the best nightlife, food, and healthcare in the universe, why would you want to be anywhere else? They say. But I've always known I wasn't meant to stay here, dreaming of the explorers before me like my great-grandfather, to pilot the galaxy and see it with my own eyes. But until that day, gotta make do working for the man and hustling some slam.
What are we doing this time?
I guess I'm Transformers Blue.
Typical Hurston Dynamics. All the money in the world, won't spend any of it to keep things updated. We're trying to fix a bunch of scrap metal.
Did you hear that?
Receiving traffic. Pisces 1 taking heavy, accurate, and sustained fire. Making an unsanctioned jump into Earth's atmosphere. I say again, mayday, mayday, mayday!
Let's go check it out.
I don't think you should go in there. It doesn't look safe.
It's alright, I'm checking to see if there are any survivors.
Do you see anything?
No, but it looks like there's something on the ground.
What'd you find?
Not sure. Some sort of data chip?
Hey boys, we gotta get going. Security's on its way.
I bet whatever happened at that wreck has something to do with this data chip.
Task Force 7 on site. Checking for survivors. Nobody could have survived this. Task Force 7 report. On site. Haven't found anything yet. We'll report back once we... Hudson, check comms. All I'm getting is static. Task Force 7. Detected an inbound hostile ship. Evacuate. Missiles launched. Come in, Task Force 7.
Hey, you don't mind, do you?
Looks like you made some pretty serious friends there, didn't you? I think we need to get you out of here. Follow me. Are the Legion after you, kid?
I don't know. And my name's Huck.
If I know the Legion, they wouldn't be after you for nothing.
Only thing I can think of is due to last night.
What happened last night?
Yeah, some Pisces crashed while I was on my way to a job site.
You need to come with me. It's not safe for you here.
Not a chance, kid. You might want to hold on to something. What are you talking about? Holy shit! Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick. We've all been there, kid. You get used to it. Gemini, this is Pisces 2, requesting permission to land. Pisces 2, this is Gemini. You are clear to land. Welcome home.
I'm gonna regret asking, but what's the Gemini?
Kid, that's the Gemini.
You can go ahead and roll episode 2. I'm good.
I mean, pretty good. Not bad at all.
Why are we stopping at episode 1?
Yeah, I mean, not
That's
bad
my
at
question.
all. I mean, not bad at all. A couple of words or less going backwards. J2, what do you think, buddy?
Dude, I'm floored, man. That is easily one of the best Star Citizen, if not the best Star Citizen machinima I've seen so far. That was awesome. That was well edited, well scripted, well freaking dubbed. They did a great job. I agree with whoever in chat said they needed the VoIP going on for some of those conversation scenes, but that's the only flaw I saw in that video. That was awesome. That was good. Yeah, I want to see episode 2.
JT, you sound like Sean Tracy. Are you Sean Tracy? Are you secretly CIG and we don't know it?
I wish, man. Other than all the flack he's getting about not delivering Theaters of War, Sean Tracy would be a pretty cool person to be.
Go back.
Yeah, the backend service is holding them up. Dependencies. But yeah, he's cool.
But he's the front man for that one, so he's taking all the heat for it.
Yeah. Go Matt, what do you think, buddy?
I'm sure.
To keep it short, 2 thumbs up. It was a great job.
Okay, keep it short. 2 thumbs up. Great job, Fist to Face.
Sorry about that earlier, number one. And for me,
good, man.
What I saw in the video, I like it. But I'm on one thing I would say, this is not on them as far as what they, as far as the video. I just wish CIG would fix the jitterbug when you are in third person and you're looking at filming somebody and they just do that little twist and shout thing when they're walking. Oh man, it kills it. It just kills it, man.
Yeah.
It helps with better machine.
It kills it. That right there, exactly.
Like this,
yeah, that right. Oh man,
he's doing the shuffle.
He's doing the twist. He's doing the chubby checker.
It was a joke.
He was doing the chubby checker. I was like, oh my goodness.
Shuffling.
Me and Pops, we try to do a couple videos, and we get to that point where we're trying to do a scene of him running to the ship, and I'm like, man, that looks so bad, dude. We can't. This is bad because it's like your legs are you tripping over yourself. I'm like, okay, we got to scrap this.
I thought it was a joke, but thanks for bringing that out, Fizz, because that was in my head. That song. Every day I'm shuffling.
Okay.
I said, what is this? Is this meaning or something? What is this?
Admiral, you got the last word.
I was just saying, you're gonna add some. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Do the twist, whichever one it is.
Do the twist.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then the video will be perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, this is like, one of the top videos, like, J2 was saying. The only one that I kind of remember being maybe better than this one was that one where it was, they went to like a planet and the planet got attacked, and then there was never a chapter 2 or a number 2 because I think that person who made it ended up going to CIG. We'd have to go back like at least a year to figure out which one that was, but it was like phenomenal. But this one right here was great. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Very nice. It's about storytelling, and with the lore team in place, making sure features are placed accordingly. That we can expect to do this and even more once we get these player counts in and we get these homesteads and have all those assets out there and we're placed into the game. And then also the AI will be serving as to assist with the narratives that will present itself, that this is a daily, day-to-day functionality for us, and it easily translates to that style of Firefly, being out on the outskirts, the frontiers, and these random things happening, and it's just like continual gameplay interactions amongst all of us, shared interaction. So I love it. It just speaks to what this game is really about.
Well, that being said, I'll just say 3 words: look for more.
Yes. Episode 2.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, with that being the case, I think that pretty much, wraps things up for the show tonight, doesn't it?
I just want to thank the guys in chat for being brave and just getting in here and speaking their piece and giving some really valid information that really sticks and hit home. I appreciate you guys always. Thank you for your comments and your interjection.
Yeah, thanks Admiral Kusanagi. Thank you, Fist of Face. Thank you, Gomab. Thank you, J2, for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate you guys, and you guys are welcome anytime on Friday Night Live.
And that includes you, chat. And thanks for hanging out with us too, as well. I can't say enough about this community. I'll harp and just say it. It's great, man. It's great that we have this vision and what we want to do with this game, and having that patience. That's a crucial part of it. But man, we're seeing it happen before our eyes. Can't say enough, guys. Thank you so much.
Yep,
07 to everyone.
Yep.
With that being the case, guys,
we're gonna be rating Hangry Sarah.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to be rating Hangry Sarah tonight. Just a little bit of a plug. Please join us on Sunday night for Soul Citizen, and check out. I think we're doing things on logistics on Sunday night for Soul Citizens. So it's going to be a good topic. Going to be a great time. Go ahead and join us on Sunday night at Soul Citizens. And
Eastern Standard Time.
There you go. So have a good night, guys. We're going to be rating Hangry Sarah. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for having us, man.